Okay then. Well, today we're just going to start out with video game publishers. So this is a big topic. This might take a bit of time to get through. And I have started recording, yes. All right. So video game publishers, let's talk about those. All right. So first up, what's a video game publisher?
People with money.
Okay, people with money. Yeah, sure thing. Rich people. Rich businesses. / money. What else? What's a video game publisher?
A company with connections.
Okay. They have connections. Okay. All right. Well, what do they actually do?
You exchange potential profits for help with things like marketing, feedback,
Sure.
localization, all that sort of stuff.
Okay, sure thing. They provide their company that give benefits, but they take revenue. Sure. Okay, but what do they actually do? Yeah, these are all good. These are all valid.
Facilitate distribution of
Okay.
type of game.
They sell games. Yep, that's good. But are they the ones running the stores though? Are they Walmart? Are they Steam? No. Okay. So in the pipeline of like you, the developer, or the artist, you're making art, and then the storefronts sell it. I guess let's say, developer, consumer. Where does publisher go in this spectrum?
It would go like developer, then the middleman publisher, and then storefront, then consumer.
Sure. So publisher and then storefront. Okay. So yes, you said a word there. Well, what do we call these people? Well, you might not include storefront in this category. What do you call this group?
Middlemen.
They're middlemen. Okay. You make the product, the consumer consumes it. And I guess, the storefront is probably necessary, though you could try to sell it on your own. Like maybe you don't need a storefront if you could sell it out of your garage or on your own website. So these are called, this is middlemen, okay? All right, so publishers are middlemen, okay? And I don't know, in business, is middlemen like a good word or a bad word?
Not good.
It's not a good word, right? Because you're the one making something cool, and then the consumers are the ones who get, receive it. Generally, you don't want middlemen, right? Like that, they're just a barrier in the way. I mean, maybe they provide value, but they are in the way. You'd rather just you to consumer, like that's the ideal world, right? Like you make the art and it goes straight into the brains of the people who want it. That would be an ideal world. So we're going to be answering the question today. Publishers, yes or no? Are yes or no? Are they good? Are they bad? And why would you ever use one? Why wouldn't you use one? So to start off with, we're going to go through a brief history of video games and publishers to see why they exist. And then we'll see what their role is today. Okay? So what am I looking at here? I know the picture's a little bit small, but surely you recognize this.
Pong.
It's Pong. All right. Now, whatever. I'm sure you could find examples of like an earlier video game. This was kind of like the one that we all agree on is like one of the earliest games. It may be like one of those missile command on like the radar screens might be the earliest. But this is certainly one of the first ones we all agree on that, yep, this is a video game. And this one, actually got some fame. Like people have heard of Pong. Okay. So it used to be in this giant cabinet with a tiny screen, and it looks like there was 2 dials there. So this is kind of like the first breakout commercial video game, you could say. and it was its own arcade cabinet. Okay. So to start off with, basically in the 1970s, this is when the video games basically began. Why couldn't video games exist before then? Just generally, why couldn't they exist in the 1960s?
Microchips.
Sure, technology, microchips. Like, you see how big this thing is for that. Now, I don't know what all's in there, but certainly I know my parents have stories that, like, when they went to university, computers filled entire rooms. And that's no joke. Like, there'd be an entire room, and the way you'd program on these computers is you'd have pieces of paper with holes punched in them, and that was the programming language, and then you'd feed it in, and then, like, it would slowly, like, it would take hours or days for you to get back the results of whatever it is you put in that, just because people had to book time with the computer at the university. The computer. There was, like, one at your, and maybe a university would have one. So, like, people did not have home computers, they did not have home electronics. So it used to be these, basically, as technology improved, the form factor got smaller until finally, reasonably, some people or businesses could own one, without being a university or a high-tech lab or something. You could actually own one of these yourself. Okay. But here, do you recognize any of these games?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So these here, the Oregon Trail was for home computers, but we see here that Space Invaders, and we see another one there. Those were this era was kind of dominated by, like, arcade cabinets, and then, like, the very early home computers, and then also some early Atari home consoles. But this era was very, clunky. It was very early days. So here we go. So many. There was arcades, early Atari home consoles, and also not many home computers. All right. But most companies developed and published their own games. Basically, the industry back then just wasn't very big. Like, this was very new. And so, Atari made their own games and made their own consoles. They made games for their consoles. The people who made the arcades literally made the arcade game and then made the cabinet for it. Like, there was no separation of, like, someone else is going to go make the game and I'll make the hardware and then we'll, like, come to a deal. No, these were all done in-house. Like, these companies did all their own thing. That's right. So arcade firms would handle development, manufacturing, and sales. Some older names you may have heard of was Atari, Taito, Namco, some of these, like, fighting game or, like, arcade cabinets and sort of thing. Does anyone here remember that time period? Russell?
No.
No?
I was born in 84.
Oh, man. Okay. Okay. Right. Fair enough. Okay. That's right. So then we moved on to the 1980s, and I think everyone should recognize more of these games. Okay. So what sort of systems are these for?
Nintendo.
Sure, the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Consoles.
there was, like, the Atari before that, but I mean, let's be honest, it was pretty bad. The Nintendo Entertainment System was, like, the first console with games that people are like, whoa, this is pretty cool. And I mean, of course, taste is subjective, but to me, kind of like Mario Bros. Is certainly one of, like, the first games, like, wow, this still really holds up today and is very fun. If you go back to some of those old Atari games, yeah. But I mean, I'm sure you could still have some fun with them. But this was really the beginning of home consoles really became more important here. So in the 1980s, the Nintendo Entertainment System really took off with some bigger games. There are still arcade cabinets. They're still plenty popular. Galaga, Tetris, Space Invader. Though Tetris dominated everywhere it went. Pac-Man was a huge sensation back in the day. It was massive. So these are some very old series, and they're still around today, thanks to Nintendo being, very resilient to everything. Street Fighter, they're still releasing Street Fighter to this day. That's practically the same game. This is a pretty important era for gaming. This is when they kind of really got popular. Before that, it was pretty niche. Here, it's getting popular. It's actually now in your homes. And I guess here we have more home computers. I'm not an expert on old home computers, but this era is when more and more people got them. It was more reasonable for someone to have one at home. Okay. So in this era, though, manufacturers couldn't make the new games themselves fast enough. So they realized that actually, whoa, there's a big market for this. The hardware's gotten good enough. People are bringing the games into their homes. Basically, while it was still locked away in arcades, there's always going to be like a cap of like how many people you can physically stand in front of your arcade machines. The numbers don't lie. But now that the machines are now in your own homes, well, it's practically an infinite number of potential customers. How many homes are there versus like how many arcades are there? Okay, a bazillion. So they needed more games faster. And they had the idea that, we don't have to be the ones to only make the games. Like we could have other people make the games and we control the hardware. So we're still in control here. We can kind of set the prices, have a lot of control over that. All right. So this is where independent developers became a thing. Before that, you had to be basically the parent company working on the games. Now you could have separate companies work on the games and separate people worked on the hardware and sold stuff, sold the physical machines. And this is where basically because, well, to facilitate this, publishers now existed where they would find game developers, hire them, and then put them on consoles, or maybe the publishers themselves, the home parent company themselves might be the publisher. Like Nintendo has the Nintendo Entertainment System. They would reach out to developers saying, "Hey, we really like Tetris. We would love Tetris to come to our system." So they pay them to make a port or something like that. Okay, so this is where the publishers really appeared nowadays, and it was a big industry. So basically, once the money started coming in, more companies started appearing, saying, "Hey, there's money to be made here. Let's see more business models." But then something happened. Something devastating happened. What is this? Discord people, what is this?
The Atari game that lives in infamy.
Three, I think.
You remember correctly, sir. 1983 was the great video game market crash. And most people attribute it to this terrible game called E.T. There's stories of there being so many unsold copies of them being like literally shoved into a landfill, a dump with a bulldozer and covered up as if they're like radioactive bombs or something. But yeah, the video game market crashed, and there was a number of reasons why that is. Does anyone happen to know why?
Quality control. There were so many games being flooded out that nobody knew they were good.
Yes, that's right. So quality. So yes, as they opened up, actually, they opened the floodgates. They decided to allow publishers and companies that aren't just the parent company to make games for their consoles. And as a result, all sorts of shitty games came on, and people just got tired of wow, these Atari games are pieces of shit, and why are we paying money for this? It's so bad. E.T. And games back then, although you may think that they're expensive nowadays, they were far more expensive back in the day. They actually could have been $90 for E.T. $90 back in 1983 for one game. That's actually super expensive compared to what we get today. So games back then were even more expensive. So imagine, Christmas time comes and the one game you get is our E.T. Wow, as a parent, you're never buying another game for your kid again. Wow, they hated it. They didn't play it at all. Quality control. A bunch of bad games came out, and the consumers lost trust in these video game consoles. They thought they were crap. Okay. What else? I guess there's also just too many games. But yes, there are too many games, and they're low quality. Okay. There's also no consumer distrust. Basically, there was no way for people to know if what they were going to buy was good. Basically, gaming magazines or the internet or review websites didn't exist. Now, maybe there was, a magazine or two, but certainly they weren't popular. So people wouldn't know what they were getting when they bought $90 for E.T. They came home and then were slapped in the face with E.T. So they didn't know what they were buying. Okay. So, knowledge is power. I guess there was no way to share reviews, and it was still niche enough that not everyone would have these games. So you might not know anyone else who has an Atari, so you couldn't ask their opinion, hey, what are the good games to buy? What was the solution?
Nintendo seal of approval.
Sure, that's right. Yes, the solution was Nintendo Seal of Approval, but actually it looks like I have a little bit more here. So ET was actually developed in 5.5 weeks. And apparently they printed out more copies than there were consoles.
Do you know why? Why would they?
I don't know, man. They're aliens. Who knows? There's a bizarre, and so yeah, like 5.5 weeks. Talk about slop now. You know, you're worried about AI slop. That was slop. Okay, yeah. So ET, blame ET. They made a baffling decision. Yeah. All right. So the solution was the Nintendo Seal of Approval. Here you can see in the bottom right the Super Mario Bros. 3. Aside from that being a great game, the Seal of Approval. What was that? What does that mean?
It meant it was at least vetted by Nintendo for quality.
That's right. It meant someone at the company that made the hardware played the game and gave a thumbs up. Now, I mean, who knows if their opinion's right or not, but this really did help of like, oh, Nintendo basically started making good games and like rejecting the bad games and wouldn't publish the bad games. Essentially it came down to they just only picked the good games. They didn't pick the ETs of the world. And people saw that and they decided this was good. And you know, it was good and they were rewarded and they made great games. So you can kind of argue that, yeah, you know, like Nintendo saved the video game industry as a whole. I don't know what it would be like without them right now. Who knows? We don't know. But yeah, that's basically it. They decide we have to have quality control. We can't just let people ship whatever they want. There need to be rules, okay? We need to have gatekeepers. We can't just let people do what they want. Okay. So there we go. So there's some more examples. Yeah, if you saw that seal, that meant that you knew it was good, or at least all right.
By the way, was it the case where you just couldn't make a Nintendo game if you didn't get their seal of approval?
I think so, but don't quote me on that. I believe so. Yeah, so they would control who would. I mean, hardware publishers, hardware companies always controlled who could put that on their system, but I guess Atari just didn't care. I guess they would just approve it and not even look at it. Maybe like it's doubtful anyone like to make the print order for ET. Doubtful that anyone played the game before deciding that we're going to print, like, I don't know, 10 million copies or something. Doubtful they even touched it before making that decision. They just saw that the ET movie is popular, and so let's put out the game. Okay, so that's this Nintendo Seal of Approval. Now we're moving on to the 1990s, which maybe more of us are familiar with, if many of us here are this age. We grew up in. What do we see here?
GoldenEye and Zelda.
GoldenEye and Zelda. I see a lot of good series is what I see. I see a lot of good series. You could argue that this could have been the golden age of gaming. You could make that argument, certainly. This was, and what are these games? What are the two? What are they for? The ones here in this picture, at least. What systems?
Super Nintendo grew in 64 and PlayStation.
Yeah, you got it. That's right. So the home consoles, although the Nintendo Entertainment is popular, 1990s saw them skyrocket in popularity. Nintendo kept doing great work, releasing pretty good games, and they did a great job. You'll notice that we don't have any mobile games listed here. I guess I'm not an expert on mobile game history, but this is certainly before most people's phones. I don't even think they would have flip phones. I think those were kind of like around 2000. So phones weren't really a thing back then. Okay, mobile phones. We do also see the odd title here of PC gaming got a bit more popular with StarCraft 1998 kind of being the landmark real-time strategy title on PC. But yeah, these are definitely, someone came up with this picture on the internet. So don't be mad if your favorite game there is missing from this, but there certainly are a lot of great games here, and home consoles really exploded. So console gaming was really popular. The Super Nintendo N64, the PlayStation, Sega as well. Home computers also start to become more popular as they're useful for the internet became a thing. People could use it to send emails, to write Word documents. So home computers became more popular, and some games were put on them too. This is the point when arcades die, where why go to an arcade when the game can be in your home? And I know in the 1980s we said that too, but here is really, again, it's a decline. They're just keep going downhill. There's no reason to go to these big businesses with these blocky machines and pay quarters when you could play it at home for infinite number of retries. Okay. So publishers are again still very prevalent. They manage retail and distribution. Of course, all these games are physical. They all came on cartridges or discs or floppy disks or CDs. They had to be shipped out, manufactured somewhere and shipped out to you somewhere else. Some bigger names come out of this decade. We see Electronic Arts, Capcom, Acclaim, Konami. So lots of big names here, especially for the console generation. Very cool games. We also have PC development popping up here specifically. Does anyone recognize these magazines? Okay, what was inside these magazines aside from words?
A lot of
Get a
walkthroughs.
demo.
Oh.
Yes, I heard demo discs. So these magazines would literally come with floppy disks or later CDs that had demos on them. So literally, you bought a magazine and it came with a demo that you could put in your computer, and it would include like the first, I don't know, few levels of a game. And then their business model was that if you played and liked the demo, you would then the demo or the magazine, either the disc or the magazine, would have a mailing address, and they'd say like, write a check to this person or this company for $20 or $30. Write a check, put it in the mail, and send it to this guy, and then in the future you'd be mailed a floppy disk of the full version of the game, which I find so endearing. Like that's that's very fun. So imagine that. So these demo discs came in these magazines. These demo discs were a great way to share. This was the earliest demos, and they just came in magazines super cheaply. Okay, so we see some cool ones there. Yeah, Lords of the Realm, and these gaming magazines also became popular of telling you what games are cool and what are coming out, and they have interviews and stuff. So this was kind of like the internet was around, but the gaming magazines were the main source of news back then. I really like Unreal. Yes, this is an actual PC game. Do you believe that? I can't believe it.
Triangle foot.
Triangle. Yeah, look at that. That's great. Very fun. Okay, so yeah, this is also when indie developers, because of these demo discs, it was now possible for indies to start on PC, like people without publishers. It was possible, but very hard still. Like you had to physically ship things out. Still very hard. A random tidbit, id Software, ID, the guys who made Doom, they got their start doing this demo disc stuff for PC magazines. And they literally made at least one game every single month. A full game every month. And their business model was to make small and, crappy rushed games every month. Like they made Commander Keen, it was like a platformer, and they made like 6 of them. And eventually, though, they hit on Doom. Like one of the games they were working on was Doom, and then that exploded into the stratosphere in popularity. But they got their start just making, really rushed short games, sending them out on demo discs and hoping people would buy Commander Keens 1 through 6 and, keep reusing the same assets. Essentially asset flipping low quality games. But then, of course, they stumbled on Doom. So that's fun how they got started. So they got really good at prototyping and iteration. Like they just made dozens of cheap, easy to make games, and they practice and practice and practice and practice, and eventually they made it. They got big. So cool story, bro. Okay, we're now up to the 2000s. So closer to our time period here. I see, what do we see here? This is not a trick question.
Max Payne.
Yeah, Max Payne. Yeah. We got some more, I guess some grittier games. This is, before that, I guess PCs always had like a grittier slant, but home consoles generally didn't have as gritty a slant. We now got more grittier and more, I guess, explicit games with like more violence and gore and maybe even sex. I don't know. Well, GTA, right? The hot coffee fiasco and mod scandal. So yeah, games became more explicit as an art form. Video games expanded, realized we don't have to just make them, I suppose, arcadey and colorful. We can actually make them dark and gritty. And nowadays, we're finally discovering that we can make them cozy and wholesome. It's okay to appeal to other audiences as well. So yeah, it developed further. Yeah, there's a lot of great games here. Again, you could also argue this was the golden age of gaming, and you could certainly make that argument. There's a lot of great stuff here. So consoles got pretty mature. You're now on like the third and fourth iterations of consoles now. Well, okay, second to third, yeah. So this was definitely a period, again, more and more businesses, more and more money came to video games. And so large publishers started acquiring more and more studios and competitors. So EA very famously started buying up a bunch of other developers. And instead of like publishing out external developers, they decided just to buy their companies and say, you now work for us and you're going to make games for us. Yep. Budgets increased dramatically. And why is that? You'd think that like as games go on, like in other technologies, right, we get better at making something so it gets cheaper. But in video games, it's actually getting more expensive to make things. Why is that?
Fidelity increases.
Sure. Yeah. Scope. Absolutely. Scope. Owen just said fidelity, visual fidelity. Yeah. 3D. You could basically blame 3D rendering for this. That as games get bigger and bigger worlds and more 3D assets, need to hire more people, and 3D is just way more work than 2D. Whereas back in the day, they could with 2D you could be shoveling out a game a month, and same with Atari and like ET, you could. Good luck shoveling out a 3D game in a month. Now, of course, yeah, that's a big generalization. I'm sure you can, but it became more and more difficult to impress consumers. I suppose they expect more and more, bigger scope, bigger games, bigger 3D. Which is too bad, because as technology increases, we should try to make things like more efficient, and yet here they are getting more and more expensive. So as budgets increase, publishers become more and more important to funding the big games. We have EA, Activision enters the scene, Ubisoft, Take-Two. Publishers become the key source of financing if they need lots of money to throw around to fund these 3D games. And yeah, consoles and high budgets increase the publishing power. So basically, you need more money to make games for these. They want to just accept 2D asset flips. People needed more and more. So publishers became more important. But luckily, I did also mention that it was possible to be a PC indie game. This was really the time period where it was like really feasible for the vast majority of indies. Most of us couldn't beat id Software. But what was it that allowed for independently games to flourish? So without publishers,
a PC plus the advent of digital marketplaces like Xbox Live Arcade, Steam, and PlayStation Network.
You got it. That's right. So to sum that up, I guess, digital distribution platforms. What really unleashed the indie developer was to be able to have the internet download the game. Because we as an indie, the numbers don't lie. Like, how many floppy disks can I burn in my garage and sit in boxes and then physically mail them to people? Very limited. But here, if I could digitally have people download my game and an infinite number of people could play my game at no cost to me, practically no cost to me. Electricity is nothing. So digital distribution was the key here. So we threw away the physical cartridges. The internet was good enough, and enough people had the internet. This is what let indie game developers flourish. So we see here Steam, the one I talk about the most here. Xbox Live Arcade, for the Xbox 360, they opened that platform up of basically anybody could apply and put their game on this online store on consoles. And that was revolutionary at the time. Super revolutionary. And then we do get the beginning of mobile phones and the app stores. They were not picky about what went on their app stores. You just could basically apply and upload anything. And certainly if you got in early, wow, well, look at Doodle Kick. If you got in early, you did extremely well for these early pioneers. So I guess what were the benefits, or also what made digital distribution possible? I already covered some of them, but what were the benefits?
Shipping, and you don't have to
Yeah.
travel to a store to buy something.
That's right, Garrett. That's right. So shipping, that's right. So shipping costs, 0. What else? I mentioned it before, but we'll recap it again.
Reviews. You can find out what other people
Ah,
think
that's
of it,
good.
Or, well, I mean, you talked about the magazines, but just online reviews from people on Steam.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I actually didn't put that there, but that's a great point. You can have online reviews from the internet, and because you're already on the internet thinking about downloading a game, the store could display a review for the product that you're about to buy. Whoa, that's revolutionary. Like, and that sounds like, oh, super duh. Why don't we do that? But if you like go to a Walmart, they don't show reviews next to the things that you're actually about to buy. Only through thanks to the internet is this really possible of showing a review next to the thing you buy. Wow, that's awesome. That's really good. That's fantastic. Great for the consumer. What other benefits?
Automated patching.
Oh, patches. Oh, interesting. Great stuff. That's right. So you could change the game after it came out, whereas before, patches were just they couldn't be patched. They would just say that if there was a bug in Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, just the future copies that they make, they'll fix the bug. But if you have the old version, that bug's there forever, and you're out of luck. It's too bad. You can't do anything about it. But you could have online patches deliver changes to the game. Great. Though nowadays, I often complain about patches. But yes.
Oh, I was just going to say, really funny short stories. I heard back in the 80s, there was a game dev that actually had a guy that complained and mailed his game to them and said, fix it. So they actually did fix his game save and mailed it back.
Oh, that's super funny.
That's all they could do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great tech support.
Yeah.
All right, just mail back the whole computer. All right. What other benefits? So related to shipping, what do you actually ship? What is it you're shipping?
The game. So infinite downloads.
Game. How was the game given to you if before digital distribution?
It came in a box or is with
Sure.
a CD or a disc.
Yeah. So we would just call this manufacturing of like it came on a disc or a floppy disk or a cartridge or something. And with digital distribution, we just don't need to print discs. We don't need the boxes. We don't need the rule books. We don't need all that. We don't have to ship it. We don't have to store it. Storage, I guess, physical storage. Physical as well. So yeah, these are great. Yeah, great features.
For security features, they can check your age if they need to for some games online easily, or that you have a legitimate copy. 'Cause
Okay.
There were games where you would have to have
Okay.
the manual. And you have to flip when you turn on the game. You have to flip to a certain page and say what the passwords are on there.
Could they not do that though physically? Like I assume that they could. Like if you're buying an M-rated game at a physical store, they could ask to see ID that you're old enough. Same with like a movie theater, theoretically, right?
Probably. Well, okay. Talking about those ones, the Leisure Suit Larry series.
Okay.
Depending on the answers that you gave it. So if you didn't have the manual, you'd see no nudity. But if
really?
you did have the manual, you could look at the correct answers and you get different levels of nudity.
That's very funny.
Indiana Jones had one of those too, where it's a book and you have to flip to except theirs was puzzles and you had to solve the puzzle to unlock things in the game.
Very interesting. Cool. Yeah.
We missed that, and I know you're talking about benefits, but we missed the cover art.
Yeah, I
as
guess
well on boxes.
some people like manuals.
albums,
So
CDs.
I'm gonna put a manuals. I'm gonna put a sad face. Baby, we like manuals. I don't know.
Civilization came with a tech tree that you could unfold and put on your wall.
Oh yes, I
Like a
do know that.
poster.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we'll put a sad face. Okay. Yeah, so that's most of them. Oh yeah, there's also benefit of you don't need publishers. Of like just because if you're sending something through the internet, what is it the publisher would mostly help with the upfront costs of printing and shipping and dealing with the hardware company. If you're dealing with these storefronts and explicitly these storefronts made it their business model of like, hey, we're gonna let anybody put their stuff on here. Now, what do you think caused if we start allowing anybody to put their games up there, why don't we have a video game crash like in 1983?
The reviews for one.
Sure, absolutely. I don't know if there's been studies or evidence, but I certainly think that's a major reason of people can now see that's a piece of shit. Like the first 100 people buy ET and leave some reviews, and then people would stop buying ET if that were to happen with these online stores.
About that, because you said that the Nintendo seal of approval, it gives people a
It did,
level of trust.
It
in the
did,
brand.
but these don't have that.
No, but they've
The-
got online reviews. So does
They've
that
online-
place that benefit of the publisher?
I think so. Yes.
During the time of Atari and when the crash happened, that was basically all the games that they actually had available to them.
Mm.
Nowadays, we have not just games that are being made in the past year or 2 or 5 or 10, but 40 years worth of games to go back to.
Oh, okay. So there's a lot of games. There's a lot more games out there, and we know some of them are good. And even if the ones made this year are crap, we still have last year's games, and they're better, or they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Sure. A larger catalog is available. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. There's no study or anything about this, but we did open up the floodgates and said anybody, well, come one, come all. We're not going to vet it. Just upload it online, and anybody can upload this stuff. And you'd think that there could be an apocalypse saying, oh, it's full of trash. And I mean, I still have complaints like the Nintendo online store is still actually full of trash, and they do a bad job. But the other service, it did just fine. They did fine, especially Steam in the App Store. They actually show ratings and stuff. And actually, I think that's probably also one of the reasons. Yeah, the Nintendo Store is pretty bad. Okay. Right. Yes. And so yeah, this was basically the birth of the modern indie video game scene. The digital distribution is what's let me do my job today, and hopefully you guys as well in the future. Digital distribution is the key. It's the internet. Okay. All right, so here's the 2010s. We have here games. What do you see?
Some of them look photorealistic.
Sure. The visuals continued to improve. Some bigger budgets. GTA 4, PS3, Xbox 360, PC games.
Games.
Yes, but also stylized visuals started appearing. And why is that? Budget. Because making photorealistic games is too expensive. And so if you don't have the budget, you basically have to pick a style. Like if you want to be 3D, but you don't want to make GTA, you got to make it stylized. So Minecraft literally we're making it 3D, but we're kind of making it almost 2D low-res 3D, like we're using really crappy low-res textures because it was like one guy doing it. FTL and other indie games, went for a very simplified look as well. Here's also the age where phone games become massively popular. You can see here Flappy Bird. Mobile games become massively popular in this era, and then they keep expanding further and further. Yeah. But yeah, visuals keep going higher, series keep getting bigger. And so because of the indies, like the budgets could become really small because of indies doing it digitally distribution, or they become massive like GTA 4 and GTA 5 of like over $100 million. So budgets now ranged hugely now because of that. And we got a great variety. And you could also argue this is the golden age of gaming, certainly.
Lots of franchises that have multiple, like
Yes,
Gran Turismo 6,
sure. Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah.
Battlefield 4, Grand Theft
Battlefield
Auto
4. These franchises have been around a long time. And so the publishers, if they see that's working, they just keep doing it. The same thing, Madden and FIFA. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
Gran Turismo 6.
And Assassin's Creed is behind that too.
Sure. Assassin's Creed is a bazillion entries, yes.
Yeah.
Some of these games are still going strong, mainly due to constant updates.
Yeah, so some of these are still playable, still plenty big player bases, bigger than games coming out today. So yeah, they're plenty strong, and yes, thanks to digital distribution, the updates allow for continuous new content. The live service games, I suppose, begins. Thanks to the internet. Okay. So yeah, the 2010s, indies are self-publishing. Publishers are now having to provide, a variety of services. And publishers now, the industry's gotten big enough that instead of a publisher just kind of like doing everything of like, I'm going to make strategy games and shooters and strategy games. They now are going to start focusing on like, oh, we actually have genres that I publish strategy games. I publish shooters. I publish sports games. They start to, drill down into specifics of the genres instead of just I'm Electronic Arts and I publish everything. I go from, football all the way to strategy games, and I do shooters. I do everything. I'm Electronic Arts. I do everything. They're still present, but they're now publishers that specialize in genres. Okay. So the major publishers today, this might be a little bit surprising. Now, this is a graph that I didn't make, so take it with a grain of salt. But apparently Tencent, the Chinese company, is the biggest publisher by far. And then next up you have Microsoft. And then Sony. And apparently NetEase. And strangely, you may think Nintendo is like the giant. They're still plenty big. But they're nothing compared to NetEase, that's for sure. In terms of that. Whatever they're measuring for revenue. Okay. Some of these are any of these surprising? And not all, I wouldn't really consider all these publishers. Like, to me, Roblox doesn't really count as a publisher because they only have the one game that they make, though you kind of make games within Roblox. It's basically its own, I wouldn't really count it.
Or Unity.
I wouldn't count that either. Yeah.
I'm
So
surprised DraftKings is on there.
yeah,
Like
they kind of just mean,
sport-
if they have any connection to real video games, they put here's what the companies are worth, I suppose. So it's just a graph. Yep.
I'm surprised,
Activision's not on there.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I am
those are
surprised
Activision,
as
yeah.
well. Maybe they just made a mistake, or maybe it's like right there to just slightly.
Microsoft bought them.
Oh, Microsoft!
Yeah.
Microsoft
Oh,
bought them.
right.
Yes, so they might be part of Microsoft. Yeah.
I forgot about
Yep. So yeah, it's interesting. Yes, seeing these here. These are the big boys, but of course we don't really care about the big boys. We're the indies. We don't really care.
There's not Steam or Epic Games on either.
Yeah, you're right.
Either of those.
I didn't make this
Surprising.
graph. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Because they're privately owned, they don't have to distribute or
Oh,
show
could
off
be.
their-
Yeah.
It very well could be. All right. So the history of video games basically is that they started out with arcade cabinets because the technology, the computers were big, and they had to be put in big boxes. And then eventually they got smaller, and eventually home computers were still boxy, but they started becoming more prevalent. Then eventually we started getting smaller electronics, where consoles were smaller versions of the home computers, essentially. Then eventually we got mobile phones, like flip phones, and then eventually smartphones, and as well, digital distribution from the internet came. And we're kind of in the era of the digital distribution. And in fact, Sony announced that they're not going to make discs anymore because so much is coming through digital distribution anyway. There's so many upsides for them, at least, that they've decided they don't even want to bother doing it anymore. And they're the ones making the consoles. Okay. So why did publishers first appear?
to help with manufacturing.
That's right. There's a high initial cost of manufacturing and shipping. So creating physical media is just hard. Like, it's just you yourself. I could not do it. I could not do it fast enough, at scale enough, cheaply enough to do it myself. Okay. Shipping it is also hard. It has to sit in warehouses, and there needs to be trucks, and you need to pay people. And how do you do all that? And then how do you sell games in different countries? Do you pay taxes there? Oh no, that sounds impossible. Okay. Manufacturers needed more games for their platforms. So basically, arcade games they just made games for their own cabinets. But then once we got to home computers and home consoles, they realized that the hardware doesn't have to be just for one thing. Like a home computer and a home console, you can put in different games, whereas an arcade cabinet, it plays the one game only. So they realized that, wow, we actually can make far more games than there are machines for them, because we can swap out what the machine is doing with home computers and home consoles. So then companies emerged to say, hey, let's go find developers to make games for these boxes that can play different types of games. Okay. Now, are these issues present today of why publishers emerged? No, we're in the era of digital distribution, right? Literally, again, Sony's decided that they're not going to do it anymore. So even they've decided that they're packing it up. So we don't have these issues anymore of creating this physical media, manufacturing, and shipping. And I guess we still need lots of games for platforms, though you could argue that they're saturated, so maybe we don't need more, but we're going to keep making them anyway. So the reasons that the publishers emerged was because there was a high upfront cost, and that's no longer the case anymore. So what is it publishers do nowadays? Like, if they aren't shipping physical stuff, what do? Okay, so let's research some publishers and learn what they offer today. Okay, so I will post this on the Discord. We're going to do an exercise. So you're going to pick a genre or the game you're making. And what you're going to do is write down information for 3 different publishers. You're going to go out and find 3 publishers for your game or genre. And you're going to fill out their info. And ideally, these publishers are suited towards what it is you're doing. Are you making a strategy game? Are you making a mobile game? Are you making a rhythm game? Whatever. I have some links here that'll help you. You can use this Gamealytics website. It lists publishers, and if you search them, this is just from Steam. It'll like list revenue on Steam they've ever earned. So you'd be like, oh yeah, this is a $10 million publisher, sure. And so I want you to find a big one, a medium one, and a small one. And certainly the big ones are easy. They're like, oh yeah, I'll just pitch to Ubisoft, or Devolver Digital is still big, but still indie. It's the small ones you're going to have trouble finding. So yeah, I'll help you find those. Okay, so let's get to it. So we're going to spend 15 or 20 minutes on this. Okay. Okay, I've posted in the chat of the Discord, so if you look here, hello, look, there it is. So click that and open that. And now here, let's take a look at what Michael wrote. So here, I've written 3 publishers. Okay, so I've written 3 publishers. Oh, do you have a question? Okay, I've written 3 publishers.
It's Echo.
Oh,
That's us?
Yes,
Uh-oh. Have we messed it up? Okay, well. Oh, Mark needs to mute. Hey, Mark, it's your fault. Okay, it's like, what happened?
Sorry, my bad.
It's all good, it's all good.
Okay.
All right, so you're going to fill out yourself here. So your name 3 times, and you want a big, a medium size, and a small size. So I found these 3, and they all have to do with strategy games, okay? So then you're going to go off and look for them. I will also post this link here. I'll post the text as well, again. So here it is. And then you can also use, right, so here's just a random person's, here's a Google Sheet that someone has made. So feel free to use that one. You can also use this Gamealytics one. So here we can see here's a publisher list on Steam. And you can see here, oh wow, look, this guy's made, Valve has made 17 billion from their own platform for their own games. Wow. Okay, so you could then scroll down here, and this is the important part. You can either search for your name here, or just click like next a bazillion times. And so if you just do this enough, eventually you'll reach publishers that aren't in the billions. There we go. Oh yeah, so here you go. Like actually reasonable. There, yeah, that's a pretty small publisher, is $1 million. You can go see. Now they might be publishing their own games, so you have to do some research. Okay. So yeah, you can either use that or use this. And so yeah, fill out this, and you want to fill out this stuff. So if you can find their contact info, what country, what do they do, what do they like to publish, what do they do, what platforms, genres, how many games they publish, what's their biggest game, what's their average game, what's the game most similar to your skill level that they've published. All right, so let's do that for 15 or 20 minutes.
You said you put it in general chat? Is that where it was at in Discord?
I put it inside the chat of this the video meeting. I'll show you. Yeah. So if you click there, that little open chat. There you go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And so let me know. So if after 5 minutes, just try to find publishers and like don't bother filling their info yet. If after 5 minutes you need help finding the small publishers, I will help you. Because those are hard. They're small because they're tiny. You can't find them. They're too hidden. Waluigi. All right, how's yours?
Big size right now.
Okay, sure thing. And what are you going for battle bards or what genre?
Yeah, I'm doing RPG.
RPG?
Yeah,
Rhythm RPG or just RPGs in general?
just RPG because it's not really a rhythm game. It's just like
Sure. I can suggest Dangan. That
Dangan.
would certainly be a middle or small.
How do you spell Dangan?
Dangen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dangan Entertainment.
Oh, perfect.
So they,
Oh, yes. Okay.
yeah, they'd be medium.
Okay.
So yeah, they did both Playable. They've done a bunch of like Steam RPGs.
Sweet. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
How are you, Russell?
Good. There's a lot of information.
Yeah,
Well,
so some guys put a lot of work into that.
Yeah.
Not all of them are publishers. Like I don't really count them as a publisher if they're just doing their own one game. But yeah, oh well. Yeah, Playway. So if you want to look at simulation games, Playway
Yeah.
would be one. Though I deride them on Steam. But they are indeed a publisher.
Okay. All right. I'd probably notice it if I recognized the pictures.
That's like drug taxi.
Wow. Look how many games they're distributing. That's disgusting.
It's a good. That doesn't mean that they're streaming right now, does it? Could it just be something
Is
that's
that not right?
it's just rewind, maybe?
They're streaming something live, but it could be a pre-recorded.
Oh, that is a long.
That was just checking out. Yeah, so they'd definitely be
Yeah, I see, there's lots
medium
of
to
this.
large.
So yeah, they look familiar, but I don't know any of the stuff. It all looks very generic.
There we go.
What are the exact thresholds again?
I think I said large was over 100 million.
What was a medium and small?
10 to 100 for medium and small is less than. How are we doing, Mark?
Good. I'm just trying to determine what genre.
Okay.
It's the same.
And so this will be dwarves.
Yeah.
Ants and dwarves.
Yeah.
So here you're looking for simulation.
Yeah.
You could do hooded horse. They would definitely be a medium to large. All right, Braden, what game are you or genre are you doing?
I'm putting it through in for simulation.
Okay. Yeah. So are you?
Currently
Go ahead.
Sorry. Closest thing for about 100 million I can find is Raw Fury. A lot of the games above that don't really have too much edge of like a artsy sort of weird vibe to them. And the ones that do are their own games, from what I've seen. So like,
Okay.
Coffee might be a good one, but even then, don't do a lot of like 1 to 2 person teams.
Okay. Try Fellow Traveler. They do more narrative games. But I guess it could work.
Okay, I haven't actually started looking for the small one. I was just working my way through the
Sure.
big one.
Let's see. Okay.
Actually, yeah, these guys could work.
All right. What about Eric with a K?
I found obviously Square Enix Electric RPG, so Square Enix the big one. I was gonna go with Raw Fury, but a lot of people are using Raw Fury, and then I was gonna do Hooded Horse, but a lot of people are already doing Hooded Horse. So
Okay.
I'm still looking for another mid-sized one.
Okay. So I know. I guess Patrick may be already doing Dangan. Dangen. Dangan Entertainment. They'd be medium.
Oh, okay.
I can see if there's another RPG.
I'll look under that.
If you're doing RPG, you can also do Marvelous. RPGs would also be Dear Villagers and Marvelous.
Thanks, that's a good one too.
Okay, what about Ian?
All right.
Just
Just
pulling up information for Intelto, PlayStack, and Devolver,
which
which
is
is a bit of a
rehash of our
GCs,
as we
because we
talked
talked
Intelto
Yes.
before. We talked to
PlayStack,
and
we reached out to Devolver, but we were told not to talk to Devolver. So
Okay. Have you found a small one?
Intelto is a small one.
Okay, sounds good. All right, what about Renee?
I've got for roguelike. I've just got PlayStack right now.
Okay, let's find you some more. Renee, you could try Mushroom Media for roguelikes.
Okay.
And MetaRoot for roguelikes. Small one. Okay, who else is having trouble finding small ones? Oh, I guess, sorry, I've not gotten to Tristan.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah. So I found I just picked like a very kind of broad thing of like cozy life stimulation, I guess. And
And
so
so
Whitethorn
Whitethorn
is
is
Yep.
one that comes up a lot in this. They publish a lot of like different kinds, but they just want ones where you can like save at any point. You can't really I guess lose your progression. They're just
Yeah.
pretty accessible. They have a lot of focus on like accessibility. So they've got actually some pretty good resources for just how to like cater to different things you might not have. Raw Fury is I just picked because of Townscaper, honestly. But I think a lot of people seem to have found it. They also do Cassette Beasts, which I don't really think is cozy or a life sim, but I just really like that one. So that
So
one's
that
kind
one's
of like
kind
the
of like the
medium, and then
medium. And then
Team
Team
17,
17,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess
I
they
Yep.
guess they
just do
just
a
do a
whole
whole
lot of
lot of
things.
things.
They do.
I just really like Blasphemous, but I guess that's not cozy or Larson either.
Okay. Do you have a small one? Is Whitethorn small?
They're
They're
pretty
pretty
small.
small.
Okay.
I
I
don't
don't
think I could
think I
find
could find
anything
anything
smaller
smaller
without
without
just like
just like
people
people
who
who
are
are
like
like
essentially
essentially
self-publishing.
self-publishing.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look.
Yep.
Okay. For cozier, wholesome, a small one you can try is Moon Eye. All right. Is anyone else having trouble finding small ones? Those are the tough ones. Okay. Well, you must all have small ones then. All right. Okay. We'll give you 5 more minutes. Okay, well, that's going to be it. We got stuff to do. Okay. All right, so let us start going through your very nice spreadsheet. Okay, so we're going to bring it back. Okay. Okay, so let's just go down the spreadsheet here. So Braden, I guess you don't need to talk about each one, but was there anything surprising you found about these publishers you listed?
Sure. So for the three I found, starting off with Raw Fury, I did not realize how prolific they were. They have a ton of good games that I've really liked over the years. Fellow Travelers, I didn't have too much time to look at their library, but again, kind of this sort of small scale narrative stuff that I've been working on. There's a few things I've heard of, like Genesis Noir, Paradise Killer, Kraken Academy. So it was cool seeing that. And then as for my small publisher, Offbrand, I did not know that was owned by the streamer Ludwig. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, okay. Right on, man. Right on. All right. How about Owen?
Yeah. I went for like combination of strategy and simulation because I saw like people doing strategy and simulation. So, and yeah, it was oddly it was there was less options when you're searching for a combination, but the options that I saw like on that large spreadsheet, the Said one, they were like, what do you call it? They fit that niche very well. And so despite there being less options, they're like way more targeted generally. And yeah, and each one of these kind of has their own style within the strategy and simulation. You know, one might be more kind of roguelikes, strategy sim. Some might be more city building, almost, like just strategic decision making, and so on. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Even though they didn't make, all their games, they obviously have certain theming to them.
Okay, well, finding a hyper-focused, targeted publisher, that's very good. You'll see that's much better than finding a broad one. All right. How about Ian?
All right. So I guess I said before, these ones are kind of like tailored beforehand a little bit. Because they've been on radar for a long. So looking at their range of titles. They're more or less in line. I think Devolver is definitely quite a bit edgier. I guess love some not edgy games. Most of them are just variations on murder, which can be fun. Not for everyone. They kind of seem to all do a lot of the same thing. I don't know if PlayStack or Devolver do localization, but I know that Mentalto does do localization as like context help.
I'm sure they would.
But
I'm sure they would.
most of them do have. Them would have that kind of thing. They're all just a bit on the smaller side comparatively. I mean, just in terms of individual success of games, that kind of determines how well you perform. So none of them are doing too many games per year. I'd say Devolver does a lot more, around like 10-ish, and maybe some are still going to come out. So maybe that's going to go higher. But anywhere from like 5 to a little over 10 games per year. Which is not nothing, but it's also a grand scheme of things.
Sure.
Not a lot.
Alrighty. What about Eric?
I found a couple RPG publishers that Mark was saying, and one I used for the medium and small ones. they're all based in Japan. Every single one of them. So
Oh,
the big
really?
one, Square Enix, obviously the Japanese, Marvelous. It's like a big conglomerate that do like anime and a bunch of other stuff. They're Japanese, and then Dangan is also Japanese as well. Apparently Dangan is like went through some weird like lawsuit thing like a few years ago where they got like bought out by some other company and people were trying to put that on Reddit. I don't know. I didn't look into it too much. I didn't have time. But yeah, it was hard to figure out like who what their exact services was. Like on the website for Dangan, they said that they do publishing, porting, marketing, distribution. It was unclear for the other two, but they do, they all do PC console stuff. And mostly RPGs across the board here. The other two, the medium and small ones, Dangan and Marvelous, will do like action or adventure games a little bit. Maybe some puzzles in there, but mostly action, stuff like that. Square Enix's biggest game, I just guessed, was Final Fantasy VII Remake, because that was the game that I played.
Sure.
Recent memory.
It could be.
Good. Yeah. It's probably up there. It doesn't matter. Like a lot of their games are really big, and I can find it if I wanted to. It's not a big deal. But for Marvelous was Grand Blue Fantasy, which I'm gonna look up right now.
Yeah, it's a fighting game series.
It's a fighting game. Yes. Yeah. This one's really cool. Oh no, it's an RPG game.
Oh, never mind.
Never mind, it's on my wish list. Yeah, no, it's a JRPG for sure. Yeah. And then for Dangan, their top game was Crosscode or Last Spell. And then I think some people from Regina worked on Crosscode. I don't know. It was a long time ago I heard that, but yeah. Anyway, Last Spell was another bigger indie game that I heard came out. But as for the copies sold on average, they just go up like for the average game here. I just picked up copies sold, and for like the average game for Dangan, 30K copies. For Marvelous, the mid-size one, 70K, and then
Nice.
150. So it just keeps going up and up and up, which is fantastic. So I didn't have time to get all their most similar to my skill level. I got the one from Square Enix. I was looking at one from Marvelous just now though, and I'll finish that out. But yeah.
Okay. Right on. Thank you.
Look at all their games.
All right. So Tristan, you already briefly talked about them. Anything else worth noting?
Not really. Like it seemed that the sort of bigger companies, it's just more scope, more polish, and then the smaller ones just have like a really focused, less polished thing. But I don't know if the games are comparable.
Okay. Right on. All right. Okay, and what about Mark?
Paradox Interactive is the big one, and Hooded Horse is a smaller one, or medium-sized one, I guess.
Okay.
Can find anything for small.
Oh no. Okay, anything worth noting about them?
I can't think of anything right now, really.
All right, no problem. Okay, how about Renee? All right, maybe Renee stepped out for a moment. Okay. All right, so let us go.
I was talking.
Oh, it's all good.
I was muted.
I guess
just quickly, anything that's not been said. Just seemed like the Mad Mushroom. I didn't get too far into them. I took a long time finding stuff, but the Mad Mushroom one was interesting, where it was like they're a smaller studio, and they were very much pushing the marketing reach. So they're trying to sell themselves as like we'll get you in front of millions of eyes. And it seemed like the other ones were kind of just sitting back and letting people come to them.
Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah, they said something about content creator approach. Yeah, so. All right, sounds good. Okay, well, I hope you did some research, and of course, you can do more on your own. Maybe you will soon. So they gave you a brief cross section of publishers that are available, and certainly searching by genre is far more important. I mean, I'll talk about this later, but like, there's little point to applying to 30 publishers, pitching to 30 publishers, when in actuality, there's only like 3 or 4 that would ever have agreed to sign your game. So you're better off focusing on a few than shotgunning 30 of them. So that might be useful. Okay, so we're now going to talk about what do publishers offer. All right, so you've now looked at what publishers are out there. And now let's look at, maybe in your research, you found some of what they offer. Maybe. Okay. Okay, so I guess, what do they offer? What do they help? What do they do nowadays?
Money.
Money. Money, money, money. Yeah. Money. There we go. That's the big one.
Some of the ones I looked at don't look like they have anything.
Nothing.
There was one with their average game made 0.1 of $1,000, so I guess they made $100.
Okay. All right. Nothing. Anything else between money and nothing?
Marketing.
Marketing, sure. Sure. Marketing's big. Can we break that down a bit more?
Like trailer creation.
Sure. Yeah. Trailers. What else?
Social media.
Social media posts. Yeah. What else?
Conventions.
Sure. Conventions.
If there's different languages, then they can market in other languages.
Okay, sure. Well, yeah, well,
So
localization is something.
they have
They
a
can
bigger
do.
reach for marketing, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I'll say that they have an audience. Okay. For influencers, that's right. So I guess influencers and content creators / content creators. And now what's the official version of these guys that's kind of dying out? Of influencers, content creators.
Journalists.
Yes, the press. Right. Now I'm not talking about just TV and radio and newspapers, but like online gaming journal websites that write articles, IGN. Yeah, basically they're becoming less and less important as we go on. IGN is like IGN and Eurogamer are some of the only bigger ones. Now I just made a bunch of people mad or something. What else do we got? Anything else? Do they offer anything else? Audience is big, so like they presumably, if they publish games of a certain type, like simulation or cozy, probably they've built up a group of people who like their games and who they'll send out emails to. So like, email list, Discord. Back in the day, it would have been forums, BB Code forums or something.
They offer. I just had it. No, it's gone.
It's all right.
Quality assurance.
Yes.
Help.
Yep. So quality assurance, and who can tell me what that is? Presumably
provide testers.
Yes. So they'll test the game. They'll find bugs. They'll have testers provide feedback, provide flow, test the enjoyment of the game. Yeah. Make sure it doesn't crash. Porting, sure. So to other platforms. So they could port your game to mobile or to Linux or Mac or to consoles. They could make different versions of your game. Yep. What else? Is there anything else?
Reputation.
Sure. I'll put street cred. Sure. It certainly does look good on your resume. If you say, I worked with Devolver Digital, wow, that looks really good on your resume. Yeah, it absolutely does. Okay, yep, you guys did very well. That's pretty much the majority of them. So yeah, QA, so bugs, flow, feedback, enjoyment. They'll have testers play your game and provide feedback and report too many bugs that you'll never be able to fix all of them. Okay. Localization. So localization, they'll translate text. That's the easier part. You'd send off a spreadsheet with one language per column. There'd be like English, French, Spanish, Russian, simplified Chinese. And then they'd send back, they'd fill in their column. They'd look at what's in the English column and then fill it out in their languages that they're good at. Translating text can cost anywhere from like 5 to 20 cents per word. So it can add up. It can. But if your game is text light, it actually is very cheap. Something that localization, a good translation job, isn't just the text. They would actually play the video game and then change the meanings of things because some jokes don't land in other language. Maybe some things are faux pas. You don't bring up certain topics. Certainly for China, there's a lot of censorship and a lot of rules of what you can and cannot show. Like, they literally don't let you show skeletons, like bones. Can't put those in your games. I guess, yeah, supernatural. They don't like the supernatural. So, and gore and that sort of thing. Names and context, cultural mistakes, and yeah, the laws and censorship. Germany doesn't like Nazi symbols. It's literally against the law to put them in your games. So, World War II strategy games will often use a different symbol. They'll use like the Iron Cross as the German army flag instead of the Nazi flag. Now, localization is a tough one. Because if you don't speak the language, you don't really know how good a job they do. Yeah, that's their job to figure out. Okay. So marketing, we mentioned that this is a lot of stuff. There's making the trailers a big job. The trailer video can cost anywhere from $1,000 to, you could spend $20,000 on a single video. It's possible, especially if you want hand-drawn animation for your cool intro cinematic or trailers. That costs a lot of money. Reviewers, contacting the reviewers in online press, you send out codes. Hopefully they write stuff about your game. They make the store page. They do the tags, the store page, the screenshots, the GIFs, the tags. Social media, they post on the various social medias. Maybe they know which ones are better and which one aren't. Maybe. They do community management. They could do where you have a Discord and someone is paid to look at it and ban people. They could also do paid ads. So Google ads, Facebook ads, Reddit ads. Someone runs those campaigns and you have someone looking at them, and what they do is launch multiple different versions of the ad and then see which ones perform the best. And they might depend on which country you're serving it to. Certain images or words might do better in certain countries than others. And also which countries also work well for ads. Advertising to the United States, they call that like a tier 1 country for marketing and advertising because the people there are very wealthy. So ads served to the United States are very expensive, whereas ads in the Philippines and Indonesia are dirt cheap. But they find that those people are generally, I guess, on the whole, there's less money, and so they don't spend as much. So that's why the ads are cheaper. You can serve them to a lot more people. So there's a whole art to that sort of thing. So they may have an existing audience. Maybe. Maybe they have games in the same genre that you're using. And it's hard to put a price point on that. It could be very important. Or then again, maybe they don't have an existing audience. Either they're new or they don't have games similar to what you've done. Okay. There's also distribution and manufacturing. Now, Michael, you just said we're in the age of digital distribution. This is not a thing. Well, it could be, I suppose. I know that there are limited runs of printing physical Switch cartridges for some games. I was approached by multiple companies wanting this for Kaiju Wars. Didn't end up happening. But you could do limited print runs of like, okay, let's print a few thousand Switch cartridges for this indie game. And the big ones might do that. They're kind of like collector's editions, special editions. They could also do porting, so console certifications. So when you submit your game to be on different consoles like Switch and Xbox and PlayStation, they have a team that plays the game and then will approve that, say, yes, you're ready to go, you can publish on our platform, or no, you need to fix these XYZ things. Like, they have a long list of, they must meet these requirements. They also want to make sure the game doesn't crash. This is how you access the save files. Here's the button glyphs you have to use. You can't use the Xbox button glyphs on PlayStation. And yeah, the console ports as well. It can be a pain in the ass to try to get a dev console. It used to be that they're very expensive and rare. That certainly is less problematic nowadays. And of course, the big one is just funding. So this upfront, they just write you a check. They just give you a bunch of money upfront. Okay? A lot, and they could fund the whole development, or maybe they just fund a small part of it. They'll say, okay, we'll pay you $50,000, or maybe they'll do all of it. Who knows? Or maybe they'll do none of it. Yeah. Okay. So, of these things here, which of these services could you do without a publisher? All right. Do you need a publisher for any of these things? What do we think? Okay, I guess let's go down the list. QA. Do you need a publisher to do QA? I see some in-person people shaking their heads.
It could be very helpful.
It could be, but could you do it without them?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yep. So that's right. So you could do it without them. Like, either you do it yourself. And now a lot of these answers are going to be like, yes, if you had money, or so QA is literally just convincing strangers to play your game and then give feedback. So certainly, yep, you could do this without them. You don't need them. And now, again, they would do it for free. Well, everything has a price of what they're taking from you. But yes, you could do QA without them. You don't need a publisher. This is not some magically exclusive thing that they can do. You can do it yourself. You don't need to hire a QA company. You could just post on Reddit and try to get 100 people to play your game. Okay? What about localization? Could you do this without a publisher? I see Patrick shaking his head. Nodding.
You could do machine language translation.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be fancy.
Are we counting like you just hiring like a person or company to localize for you?
Yes. So what most of these publishers actually do is they don't translate these games themselves. They just go off and pay a separate company to localize them. So you could certainly just go pay a localization company to do it yourself. Or, as I believe Braden said, you could do machine translation. Now, quality may vary, but it's certainly getting better by the day. And especially if it's a small, not text-heavy game, that's actually probably fine. Yeah, so certainly localization, you could do it yourself. Now, probably you yourself, I guess you as a person couldn't do it, but you could go pay another company to do it. And I'll tell you that it can cost anywhere from $500 to $2,000 to localize a game in a different language. Of course, if you're making a narrative game, it could be way more, it could be less. But anywhere from like $500 to $1,000 per language. $500 to $2,000 per language. So, although, that's not nothing, it's not impossible, right? Like $500 to put it in French, okay, that's not insane. If you're running a business, that's a pretty small expense, to be honest. Okay, so what about porting? Could you do this without a publisher? Not sure. What about
I don't know what it takes to get on
Yeah.
console.
Depends on what console, what engine, so on.
Sure. Okay. I guess I can tell you that you as an indie developer can apply to Nintendo or Xbox or PlayStation. Thank you. You can apply yourself. You don't need them. Now, they may have a relationship and already have like a developer account. They would. But I myself could just apply to Nintendo and just put, apply, and they would approve me. They'd say, yeah, you've made a game before. Or certainly go look at the Nintendo store and tell me who they turned away. The answer is they've never turned anyone away. Okay? Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh no, Patrick.
The one guy.
The one guy. Okay, well it's not super common. All right. So you can do the porting yourself. You can, but that is something that's a bit harder. But still, it isn't something that magically only publishers can do. Okay? So I'm still going to cross it off. Okay? You can do it yourself. It's not impossible. So a lot of these are like, yes, I could do it myself if I had money. So it's always like an asterisk. What about distribution? Like printing, who cares?
With Steam.
With Steam, who cares? You could go outsource it. You go pay another company, but it probably isn't worth. That's kind of like one that like I think the upfront cost would be far too much. Like pay us $20,000 and we'll print run 2,000 cartridges of Switch cartridges for you. That's kind of too much of an upfront cost, like to be reasonably done by yourself. So I'd say that you probably can't, but also who cares? So yeah, I guess distribution is maybe We'll say that you can't do that yourself, so we'll give them a check mark for that basically. And now what about marketing?
Yeah, you can do that yourself.
You can do it yourself. You could make your own trailer. You could make your own store page, which many of you have already done. You could post on social media. Some of you are already doing that. You could email influencers and content creators. There's just lists of them. You can find their emails online. Some of you have already gone to conventions yourselves. So yeah, all that stuff. I mean, although it's not nothing. Nope. You could do it. You could do it without them. You don't need them. And additionally, marketing, like for some of this stuff, I would say like the social media, influencers and content creators and press, it's not that expensive to hire a press guy for like 1 to 2 months before your game launches. And certainly like I would recommend it if you have the money, pay someone $3,000 to email a bunch of people, write the press releases, get the content creators, and just pay someone a few $1,000s in the month or two before your launch. That's not like a crazy expense. That could certainly be worth it. It's like instead of signing away for a big deal for that, you can just pay someone a small amount to do a small part of it. Okay. Now, what about the existing audience? Can you do this without them? Existing audience. No. So maybe some of you can. I've released games that have sold, tens of thousands of copies. But because I jump around between genres, it actually doesn't necessarily mean that they jump from one game to the next. So existing audience is something that maybe, like right now, you cannot buy with money. I mean, sure, you can argue that like, oh, marketing will get me wish lists and stuff. But these are people who bought stuff in the past. So you cannot get that on your own. So that is something that is exclusive to them that you cannot get anywhere other way unless you're already successful. And if you're already successful, why do you need a publisher, I guess? Probably you don't. So existing audience is something that you cannot get on your own unless you're already successful again. Okay. So existing audience, blah blah blah. Yes. So that's really that could be huge. Yeah. So boom. Okay. And what about funding? Can you get that with
an asterisk?
Yes, with an asterisk. There could be other ways. What are the other ways? Grants. Grants are the big one. We're lucky in Canada. I'll just outright say grants are a way better deal than publishers are. So like go do grants. But what are other ways to get funding? So grants.
Investors.
Sure. I guess I would investors. I would say that's very similar to a publisher. Now, like I know they wouldn't provide a bunch of stuff, but you're still like pitching to an external person, and then they like your idea, and then take some of your revenue. They're pretty similar in my eyes. Yeah. You could do a Kickstarter, like a crowdfunded campaign, right? Kickstarter. Oh no. Kickstarter. You could also just be rich yourself, I guess, if you just have money. But risking your own money is a bad idea. Don't do that. So funding is like, this is an asterisk. Like if you can find other ways to get it, that's great. But there's a good chance, most games don't get funding to be made. At least most indie games don't have a funding source. Like they don't have a grant, they don't have a Kickstarter. So you could try the publisher. So I would circle and say, maybe you can get it without them, maybe you can't. But I think that's a good thing they provide. They could. That's the main reason they provide. So now, I guess going through that list, I guess I would say that if we were to categorize these as like, what is something that's useful they provide versus not really useful, this is the way I would put it down. Again, not useful doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't do it. It's just that it doesn't have to be them who does it. You can do it more cheaply on your own or for free, like if you put in your own work, or cheaply. So this is the way I would kind of break it down to, this is the useful stuff of the existing audience is something you just cannot get elsewhere. You cannot get these people necessarily. It's very hard to get these people without them. And then of course the money. I mean, if you can there may be other ways to get money, but this is one of the main points of, the publisher has money and they can give you money. That's like, this is why you would get a publisher, is to get money, existing audience. And maybe, again, not useful is a strong word, but this is something you could do without them. You don't need them for these things. You can release your game and do all this stuff yourself, or not do it yourself. And in fact, you can skip several of them and still release a very successful game. You don't need to port it. You don't need to make physical versions. Not necessarily. There's some games that don't do marketing and still sell a bazillion copies somehow. It happens. Localization, you don't have to do it. It's generally it'll multiply your money by some amount, but it's not like a crazy amount. English will be, you speak English, English is going to be the main audience. Okay. So that's what I'd say, that this is why to get a publisher, is for the existing audience and the funding. And the other stuff is a bonus, but that's not why you get the publisher. It's for the other reasons, and those could be bonuses. But don't get it just for them. If those two things don't show up, don't get a publisher. Okay? All right. Any comments on this? Now, I guess another reason of why I also put in the not useful category, we'll have some stories at the end of this. But they may handle your marketing, but I can tell you from firsthand experience that just because they're handling it doesn't mean they do a good job. In fact, they might do a worse job than you would do yourself. I can personally attest to this, that my team can do a better job than the publisher at least some of these tasks. Better than them. Even though they have years of experience in a big company, my team is better at them at some of these things. Okay? So, all right, so let's say that, you want to get a publisher. We're going to pitch to publishers. Okay, so you want to get a publisher. I know, despite me saying, not all the stuff that provides useful, you still want one. We want to get a publisher, right? It's cool. A lot of street cred. So what's the one thing you need to pitch to a publisher? What's the one thing you want? You need.
Or playable prototype?
There we go. It's playable prototype, yes. And it's got to be really good. So you're not going to get no publisher will sign with you without a playable prototype. There's no way you could just send them a document saying, hey, here's my 50-page game design document. Look at the sweet lore and story of my game. No, nobody would ever give you money for just that. You have to send them something, a prototype, to play, something they can play. The only way you could get them to give you money without a prototype would be if you're already famous and successful. But, we're here in this class, so obviously we're not. So you need this prototype and playable. Owen's like, oh no, I'm not famous and successful. Okay. So yeah, you need a really good playable prototype. So like you can't, you won't, don't bother talking to them if you don't have anything to actually play. Okay. All right. So what else do you need aside from this prototype? What else do you need to pitch to publishers? What else should you collect? I heard, I believe Braden said a budget, right? I think he said budget.
I'm gonna say timeline.
Oh, timeline. Sure, that's great. So a timeline, definitely. So like when does production start? When does it end? When do we put out the demo? When is the game release? Are there like marketing milestones? When are we releasing the demo, the next fest? That sort of thing. Yeah. I also mentioned budget. So how much money does it take to make these games? Because everything takes time, everything takes money. How much are we spending on art? How much are we spending on programming? What about sound? What about testing? What about localization? That sort of thing. So how much is it going to be? What else?
Potential sales, like if you have wish lists.
Sure. Sales. Oh.
Are they all bad?
They're all bad. I really need to bring my own sale estimate.
We should just buy some for SaskInteractive.
We should. Okay, sales estimates. Yeah. So yeah, you'd look on wish lists. You'd look at similar games that have had similar budgets. Like, oh, there's a game released last year, and it looks like roughly what we could do in the same genre. This is how much it sold. We can do the same. Yep. Let's try again. Thank you.
Round 2.
What else?
A team.
Team. That's right. You need to assemble a team. You need to go on a heist. Who's the getaway driver? So yeah, who's the director, or leader, producer, your programmer, your artist, your sound guy, music, that sort of thing. Who's working on it, and what have they worked on before is the really important thing. Have you guys made games before? What's your background? Do you have education? Are you educated? Have you made games before? Have you worked together before? What else? There's a lot more.
Our expectations.
Our expectation. Oh, so what we want?
Yeah.
Okay. What developer, what dev wants. So
Like we talked about all those things they could do, and
yeah. So like, oh, I want funding, and give me your audience,
yes,
and give me marketing, and give me localization, give me QA. List all of those things. May as well ask for it all. Yep. That's right. And most importantly, I guess, would be if you're asking for money, how much? Say, oh, we're going to ask for $250,000 from you. You could. What else?
The actual pitch.
The actual pitch, sure. What do you mean by pitch?
So just the game idea.
The game idea, sure. So yeah, you need your elevator pitch. You need the elevator pitch. Yeah. You need the pitch. The description. So like yeah, you could you give your 2 cents. Kaiju Wars is a 2D turn-based strategy game where Godzilla attacks your city and you have to use your crappy military to fend them off in 2D turn-based grid-based combat. Okay, there you go. That's the pitch. Similar to pitch, what else do we need?
Is this similar to, like if there's job interviews, the job can be very, very different, and you can have to dress for that very different.
Oh, clothing.
So, like if you show up with a shirt that's got your game on it, maybe that looks really good.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Dress for the job that you want. Yeah.
So, I don't know if there's any companies that want like formal anything.
Yeah.
If you have to put on a
Sure.
tie or something.
No, certainly not. Yeah, none of the video game companies I've seen would care about a formal suit or anything. But I mean, probably don't show up in ripped jeans, I guess. Though I'm sure many of the cultures are okay with that, but you never know if the person you're meeting does care. It's a chance. Yep. Then this also depends on, are you meeting them in person or is this being done remotely over video? Yep. Just go naked and only have only the camera show. up there.
Well, I don't even need that. Just if some of these people have a lot of money and you show up looking
Sure.
average or poor, maybe that actually reflects badly. So
It might. I'm sure. I bet it doesn't hurt. Probably.
I'm not gonna wear a suit.
Okay, great. What else? What's something vital we haven't mentioned yet? I guess you mentioned game. Like gameplay. Should we show? I mean, I know I said include a prototype, but
Like a trailer.
there could be a trailer. So it doesn't have to be a full like release trailer, but it should show gameplay. Because they may not necessarily, they want to see that you have a prototype. That's the first step is like, oh, I could download the prototype. But first, let me watch the trailer before I bother. So yeah, you'd also want screenshots. You'd also want, I guess, the art, I guess. You'd show the art style. This would be part of this. You'd see it in the screenshots, see it in the trailer. You do sales estimates. And you'd also compare your game to competitors. So, competitor analysis. Though, really, in video games, I don't really like using the word competitor because it's not like people, when they buy a game, they're not going to play the one video game for the rest of their life. In fact, if someone likes a genre, they actually will buy like a bunch of games inside the genre. Though, there certainly are gamers who like, I play League of Legends, and this is the only game I'm ever going to play for the rest of my life. There are people like that. But there's other people who see a game in a genre like, yeah, I just buy every city builder that I can. So competition among video games isn't quite the same thing. It's not like always one or the other. It's not a bad thing. When people see chocolate cake, if someone says, hey, here you go, here have 2 chocolate cakes, you don't think like, oh man, I only want 1 chocolate cake. You think, that's great, I now have 2 chocolate cakes. There we go. All right, yep. Sure. Yep, those are the majority of things, so let's just go through it. So really good playable. Yes. There's going to be a pitch deck. And so the pitch deck is just a PDF or a PowerPoint that has all of the stuff you just described. Okay? And you'll send it to them in an email so they can look at it themselves, but also if you do have a meeting with them, you will present it during their meeting. Like say, okay, I'll give you 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm going to go through my PowerPoint with you. The elevator pitch is just the 2 or 3 sentences to describe your game. The budget is how much money you're asking for. The timeline is when you start, when you end. Is there a demo? Is there other releases? When is the first world done? When are we doing ads? That sort of thing. What the publisher will give you, it's probably funding and localization and QA and marketing and all that stuff. Yeah, that's the majority of it. And the pitch deck will have all this stuff as well. Indeed. So when should you pitch to publishers? When should you send your email out to them? Should it be tomorrow? Or like when in development should it be?
When you're prepared, when you fulfill those requirements and
Sure.
so on, if you need it.
Yep. So it should probably be just, yeah. So I guess in the first half of development, probably, because if you're past the first half, you could probably just finish it on your own without them. Probably. But hey, everything, circumstances may change. But probably like after you have a really good prototype. So you need to have made a prototype, and it's probably when you need money. But again, that's probably in the first half. You should do it earlier rather than later. Yep. So that's the time. And kind of the later you go, the less useful it is of like, oh, I needed the money to pay my team. But if you sign with a publisher like a month before launching, what are you really getting from them? Well, I mean, maybe they are just sending you like, hey, I'll pay you $1 million to publish your game a month away from launch. Well, sure, maybe you take that deal, but you're probably not getting that deal.
Didn't the Balatro guy basically do that? Wasn't it like a few months prior to launch?
It was certainly before launch, and yeah, probably. I'm afraid I don't have the official timeline, but it was sometime. Yeah, it wasn't crazy. Okay. So I guess here I'd say the first 3/4 of development, I probably would say you wouldn't bother for the last quarter. You just power on and finish it yourself. Or just stop where you are and say, that's it, we're releasing the game, that's that. Okay. So we're going to do an exercise, but this time I'm going to be the one exercising. I'm going to pitch Kaiju Wars to you, and you're going to write down a description of what each slide contains. Like, oh, this slide is the elevator pitch. This one is the trailer slide. And then at the end, you're each going to ask me one question as if you're a publisher that I'm pitching my game to. So this is a game that I made and I released. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay. Okie dokie. And I'm going to time myself so I don't go over time. Okay. All right. Hi there. My name is Michael Long, and I'm here to present to you Kaiju Wars. So the big idea is that you play out a Godzilla movie, except you're taking the role of the military, trying to hold off giant monsters attacking your city. So you play as the outclassed military in this 2D turn-based strategy game. The gameplay combines the grid-based move and attack and production of Advance Wars, mixed with the content of Godzilla-style big monsters attack. There's a variety of them in the style of Godzilla monsters. And the art is somewhat reminiscent of Into the Breach, a colorful isometric view, but with our own unique colorful touches based on monster movie posters. Okay. The opportunity. So on the whole, grid-based, turn-based strategy games sell very well. These are some of the the higher-end examples. XCOM 2 and Fire Emblem, one for PC, one for Switch, sold amazingly well, over 3 million copies. And then for indie ones, Into the Breach is the more interesting and relevant title. They sold 500,000 copies for an indie PC, 2D, turn-based, grid-based strategy game. And a similar with Wargroove, also based on Advance Wars, but with their own colorful art style. So this genre on the whole sells quite well, especially on PC and even for indie developers. So the market, the three demographics that we're going for is first, the strategist. So they have a wide age range. They like games like Advance Wars, Wargroove, Fire Emblem, anything that's anything that's turn-based strategy. They're generally a hardcore audience, so they care about the gameplay. Since they could have an older shift, they may appreciate the pixel art, or the art itself doesn't matter as much to them. They care about the core gameplay. They're hardcore, and they're all about the strategy of the game. Moving away from the gameplay is the nostalgic. So this is an older crowd, people who grew up watching those live-action Godzilla movies, the people in the funny rubber suits. So they watch those old series, and they love kaiju art. And for them, the game needs to be accessible enough to play. Maybe video games aren't their main hobby, but nonetheless, they still like the idea of the monster media. And then lastly, we have a younger demographic, the kid. They like colorful aesthetics. They mostly play on Nintendo Switch, which is why the colors from our color palette will appeal to them of people using Nintendo Switch. And this would be a gateway to strategy games. It's not super complex. The mechanics are simple enough that children can figure out. It's not tons of percentages and millions of menus. It should be accessible enough for them to play. Okay, so here is the here's our demo trailer. I'm not sure I'm going to watch all of it. Or maybe will. I don't know.
This is ours. We won't go down without fighting. Tanks, missiles, fighters, and bombers. We'll use whatever it takes. We'll slow down the tanks and fighters. Don't worry, we got a good show of bombs.
Okay.
Do not panic. My My name is Dr. Emma Wagner, PhD. My anti-kaiju serum will take time to create. Protect me while I work.
Doc, how can I do an approach?
We must evacuate. Attacks are happening worldwide.
All right, there we go. Okay, so as you saw from the gameplay trailer, we have a variety of gameplay mechanics and loops. We start off over here at the bottom, your bottom left. During the turn, you'll construct buildings. You'll use money to construct buildings and deploy and repair units. Each turn, you'll play a project card that'll either help you build buildings, earn money, or upgrade your units. All the units have a very simple move and attack. They move and then they attack. There's different unit types with some slight variations of are they good against ground targets, air targets. Tanks deal extra damage when they're stepped on with a counterattack value. When the monster gets too close to your main scientist, Dr. Wagner, you must evacuate her using a variety of evacuation vehicles like trucks, planes, or boats, and you need to have her run away to the next laboratory so she can continue working on her anti-kaiju serum. When it's the enemy's turn, the monsters move, and in our game, similar to Into the Breach, we actually show the paths they're going to take ahead of time, so you plan on where the monster is going to be. However, we show the probabilities of each path they're going to take. So there's a 50% chance they go one way, or maybe there's a 50% chance they go another way. So you need to plan ahead of time of what if they go left instead of right? Monsters always go for the nearest building, so they are predictable, and you can actually use buildings to alter the paths they're going to take around the map while you blast them and hammer them with your attacks. There's also a mysterious enemy who is controlling the monsters, and they'll be up to no good, playing all sorts of strange and dangerous events trying to defeat you. Okay. So our art style here is based on actually Godzilla and monster movie posters. We took a very colorful aesthetic where we took opposite colors on the color wheel and actually sampled colors from those monster movie posters. And I think you'll agree that they're very exciting and stand out. Though the final version, the gray scale monsters were boring. They have colors in the actual release version. The gray was boring. Okay, as for content, there's 50 plus missions. There's a map editor. There's daily challenges. There's lore. There's 5 monsters and a bunch of abilities. There's lots of military units. There's upgradable units, very powerful experimental units, and lots of buildings and projects. For replayability, we offer, again, there's daily challenges, there's leaderboards, there's a map editor, optional objectives and medals, upgradable units, hard mode, and free play mode. So the game's got lots of content. There's lots in there. Okay. We make games that make you think. Our past games, our major release here is Radio General. It's a strategy game that did quite well, and we released several other games before. We've run government funding in the past. And here's our team. There's me on programming. My brother, Jeff Long, is the designer. We have a sound guy, and Keenan Cloutier is our artist. And here's our timeline. So when I was pitching this, it looks like we were in 2021. At the beginning in early May 2020, we had a board game, and then we decided to make it into a video game. We're now looking towards June 2021, where we finish different regions. There's going to be a demo. There's going to be a map editor. We're going to release in Q1 2022, and then ideally, there's DLC that comes after that. For the budget, we're asking for $200,000 US because the world functions on US dollars. We don't use Canadian dollars. And for financing, we actually already have Canada Media Fund investment, and so we're looking for a publisher to fill the other part of the financing. So Canada Media Fund will fund more than half of it, and we're looking for a publisher to fill the other part. For base price, if we sell 19,000 copies at $15 US, it should recoup our budget. Sure, timing. The Godzilla versus King Kong movie is about to come out, and so there's a Netflix show called Godzilla Singular Point coming out. So monster movies are in the audience's attention. It's a good time as ever to release a monster video game. Okay, So it's turn-based strategy game. We plan on releasing on PC, Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. It's going to be released in Q1 2022. And we're asking the publisher for $75,000, marketing, QA, and localization. All right, there you go. And now you can. Thanks for listening. Go play my demo. If you like what you heard, go play the demo. Okay, perfect. So that was 9 minutes. Okay, so I hope you're taking notes on that. So now, please, each one of you is going to ask me one question as if you're a publisher that I just gave this presentation to. All right, Patrick.
Are there any similar games where you play from a disadvantage? Like, there's a bunch of strategy games, but the unique twist of being at a disadvantage.
Yes, Into the Breach would be a main inspiration where you play as the outclassed humans, and you're in that game you're outnumbered by the enemies. Or we flip the script in this one, and we outnumber the enemy, but the enemy is very powerful and basically cannot be stopped. All right.
I have a question.
Yep.
What's the median what's the word I'm looking for? What's the median amount of money that these games in this genre earn?
Sure. As we know from our research, strategy is a pretty well-earning genre. I guess on Steam, I believe the median would be something like $3,000 for median strategy games. So we are definitely aiming for much higher than the median Steam game. But we've already procured Canada Media Fund financing, so we're confident that our budget and production values will certainly far exceed the median value from Steam. Owen?
Your programming budget, I think it was like 75,000.
Sure.
Whereas the art budget was, I think, 95,000. You have, I think, one programmer and one artist.
Yes.
And you have about a year of a timeline, roughly. How come the art is so much? Is this a particularly good artist, or or are you like buying assets?
Art is just expensive. But you're right that is a bit higher. Art is expensive. If I were to go back and review it, I'd probably make the programming and art about equal. But yeah, art's expensive. Animations, especially the monsters doing their animations. We wanted to make a bunch of cards for the project cards. We want unique animations there, or cards. There's like a comic book main menu for choosing the level select. So art's expensive.
You made mention of the map editor. Is there going to be mods for this game?
Yes, you can use the in-game map editor, and they will be uploaded to the Steam workshop, where people can download each other's maps.
What about for consoles?
No. Nope. Consoles, they suck, and they don't have a good digital distribution system. They don't have the equivalent of what Steam Workshop is. Because if you were to do that for consoles, you'd have to come out with your own moderation system. If people drew dicks in your map editor on Nintendo Switch, you have to have your own both age verification, your own personal one, and some sort of safety verification moderator tools. You'd have to make that yourself. So, no, this game would not have map editor on console, and to this date, it does not. Nope, they suck.
Good job.
No, Steam Workshop is pretty sweet.
It said 50 plus missions with 5 unique enemies.
Yeah.
So is that stretching one enemy to 10 missions each?
Roughly. So the game will be divided into 5 acts as you move between different regions of the world. However, different monsters, there will be multiple monsters in the same region. But some will show up again, but there's like a primary antagonist of each region, so there will be some mix and matching. Okay, go ahead, Owen.
I'm curious. You've already gotten the Canada Media Fund by this point, right?
Yes.
And now you're pitching to publishers, and you're months in. Was this accounted for from the start, or are you running out of runway? Like, why months after?
So we obviously had the money. We got the Canada Media Fund money, so we already had that money stashed away. But I don't want to spend my own money or my own company's money if I don't have to. I would like to have someone else pay more for it. That'd be why. All right, online people, I'm going to have to start picking on you. Who's been quiet?
I'll go.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, you go.
Okay, what sort of social proof is there? Any sort of traction on Steam to ensure that there is an audience for this game?
That's a good. You raise an excellent point. It looks like in this presentation I did not mention Steam wishlist at all. So I guess our proof is only the fact that Canon Media Fund liked our game. That's the only proof we have. But that is definitely a weakness of the presentation. Ideally, you'd post a Steam page and be like, "Yeah, I've got 20,000 wish lists already." That's what the publishers would want to see.
If sorry, if I'm in the position of a publisher right now and you're pitching to me, then my question would be, when and how do I get my money back? So if I'm giving you $75,000,
you get it back at the end when
Yeah.
when the game releases. There'd be some sort of revenue sharing agreement.
okay, that revenue sharing agreement, would it be something like the publisher gets paid first and then the game developer, or would
That would depend on the contract.
Okay.
It would very much depend. You're going to see at the end of this talk, you'll see real publisher contracts. So that would depend on the. Some would recoup everything they give you first. They'd say you don't get anything till I've gotten my money back. Others would still split it as it comes, as the revenue comes in. They'd split it. Depends. Depends how nice a publisher you are. Okay. What about Renee?
How
long has the team been working together?
Sure. So we've actually been working on together for a fair amount of time. Actually, several. We've worked on several games together. So we released several other games on Steam. So I guess at this point, the majority of us have been working together for something like 2 or 3 years, and we've released multiple games on Steam already. Okay, what about Tristan?
So just following up with Ian's question, I was also interested in sort of like the social validation of it. So like besides Steam wish lists, have you been sharing anything on other social media, and have you had any success with that?
Yeah, we would have made some social media posts, but overall, I guess no super successful posts, I would say. So no, it is a weak point of the presentation.
Okay.
What about exclusivity with the publisher? So if they ask you what you've done in the past and it was with different publishers, is that a negative for the future? Like, is
No.
it better to stick with
No, it's very common to work with one publisher and then never work with them again. That's very common. Yeah, no problems.
How much of your fan base do you expect to move over from your first successful
Ooh.
release, Radio General, to this title?
Good question. The answer is almost none. Although they are like strategy games. This is a colorful 2D turn-based game, and that was like a real-time World War II historical game. Unfortunately, almost none of the audience would move from one to the other. So that's a weakness. I just like making different games, and that's probably a mistake. Like I should have just made Radio General 2. What about Eric with a K? Did you already ask?
I did.
Okay, Braden, did you ask? Maybe he did. What about Renee?
Yeah, I did have a live question.
What about Renee?
Yeah,
I asked.
Okay, I guess everyone's asked. All right, sounds like we are done. Okay, so that is a real pitch made by real people. There we go. Okay, so what was included in my pitch? You were taking notes, right?
Yes. You
Okay.
listed comparables.
Yeah, I guess I'll erase this, but it is basically that list I put before. Yeah, comparables or competitors. We'll go really fast. Comparables, what else?
Budget and how much of that was already fulfilled.
Yep, budget, ask. Also just put timeline was also listed there. Anything else?
Turn-based gameplay loop is explained.
Okay, gameplay loop. Renee said team.
Elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch. Yep.
Previous experience.
Yep. Previous experience. And yes, that previous experience is very important. To see that like you've made games before is really good, and that's why I always encourage everyone to just keep making, do game jams and release games and just put them out there. That looks really good. If you've never made any game before, they will definitely be skeptical if you could pull this off. There's a trailer. There were screenshots. And yeah, I think that's the majority. Anything else?
Thank you with a demo link. At the end.
Ah, yes, thank you. They're very nice. Thank you.
The demo.
Demo.
So you have to have that for the publisher.
You do.
And art description, like USPs as well.
Art, yeah. And yeah, unique selling point. So yeah, overall, I think I think it's a pretty good pitch. But as you say, not mentioning wish lists or like email newsletters, that is a weakness, and that would have been good to show before that. Yeah, show include there. Okay. Yeah. I also did mention player types. Yep, that looks fine. Okay. So we're not going to do this time, but for next class, you're going to do exactly what I just did, but I'm going to make it even shorter. You're going to make your own pitch for your own game that you're making, and it's going to have to be 5 minutes, and that's like turbo mode, okay? But I mean, you're not going to have nearly as refined visuals, and like you're not going to have a 2-minute gameplay trailer for your game. But you're going to have to do, this is going to be homework for next time. You're going to make a pitch, and you're going to present it to the whole class exactly like I just did. All right. So that's going to be for next time. And I will send the email, so don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah, you don't need to write down. I will send an email. So we will move on. So how do you contact publishers? So like I want to send them a pitch. How do I find them? How do I contact them?
Email?
Email, sure.
Best way?
Yep. Yeah, that's certainly the simplest way and most straightforward. Yep.
LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Well, is it? I certainly get a lot of spam through LinkedIn, but yes, that is a thing. Yep, definitely.
A bunch of them had their own forms on their site to submit them.
Yep, so they'll have their own contact forms on their website, which are very frustrating because each one is a little bit different, and they'll have like different oh, you can't write more than 1,000 words in our contact form. It's very frustrating. That's why emails are so much better, because you can just basically give the same email to everybody. Yeah, but yes, you can use those. Do both, just in case they go to different people. How else do you find these people?
Conventions.
Conventions, yeah. So you'd arrange meetings weeks ahead of time before the convention. You'd look at this list of companies attending. And then you say, hey, I'd like a meeting. Let's meet up here at the convention. That's right, and have in-person meetings. That's a flip the script. Think outside the box. What's another way of getting in contact with them or not getting in contact with them?
They stalk them.
Yeah, stalk them. They
get in contact with you.
They find you. They find you. They know where you live. Yes. Yep, so that's it. And email is going to be the primary one. Like, that's the primary way you're going to send it off. Like, even if you meet them in person, you're still going to send an email to them with the exact same email. But also, maybe you don't, and they contact you. And I can sort of tell you that this is your best chance. Your best chance of getting published is if they talk to you first. Now, of course, you have to be careful who's talking to you. You know, it may not be a good deal or not, but they've hired they have a person whose full-time job is scouting games, like just looking through the Steam pages. They play all the games in the Next Fest, the Steam Next Fest of the genre they like. They go through the forums. Yeah, they go to obscure video game forums. They go to like IndieDB. They go look at content creators and see what they're covering. And they have a person whose full-time job is emailing game developers just to talk to them. That doesn't mean they'll sign with them, but they have someone whose full-time job is finding you if they're interested. So chances are, like, that's probably the best way is, I guess the best way is to make a good game. And then maybe they'll ask you. So, that's right. Because cold calling almost never works. It's not impossible, but like just shooting out emails, the chances are very, very low. Okay. So, emailing to the publisher, what should it include? What should the email have? Online people.
Trailer.
I would say a GIF gameplay.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, so yeah, a GIF should be right at the top. I know, I guess, you gotta be careful of like not all emails instantly play the GIFs or something, but yeah, put it right at the top. That's good. Have a trailer, and for the GIF, like put a GIF, and then you can also like make it a hyperlink. When you click the GIF, it could open up a link to the GIF itself, just in case it doesn't play inside the embedded email browser, email window. Yep, have your trailer, have a link to your trailer right there. Should you have a subject line of your email? Sure. What? Something catchy? I guess something like. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Do you forego the name and just like put the like because the name means nothing to them. But if you say like Godzilla, a turn-based strategy.
Yes, Godzilla meets Advance Wars in this 2D turn-based strategy game. Yep, you could just put that as a subject line and don't mention your name. Yep, that would be reasonable because they don't know that. They don't know your name.
Should you just focus on making your intentions clear in the subject line of just,
pitch, video game pitch?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, yes. Please publish Kaiju Wars. Please publish my Godzilla Tactics game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could put, yes, pitch. Yeah, they might want that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, there's going to be a pitch deck. You're just going to include a PDF of your pitch deck. You have a link to your demo. So all this stuff is pretty repetitive. And then you also want the ask. Like, there's no point hiding the ask of what, don't make them work to find out how much money you're asking for. Just you put it in your paragraph that you write saying, hey, we're looking for a publisher who will give us money, this much money, and do QA marketing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so something like this. So here we go. So here's an example. So it's a subject line. Fight over 3 months in real time in new World War II RTS. So apparently that's what I think the hook is, that there's supposed to be some real-time mechanic of like, oh, you play over 3 months a single match. My name is Michael Long. Michael, I run Foolish Mortals, an indie video game studio in Canada. We're working on a new World War II strategy, single-player PC, real-time strategy game. That'd be a perfect fit for your audience. Gameplay GIF, gameplay video link. I would actually, in future though, I'd probably just put that. Actually, I would change the order. I'm just going to do that right now. Generally, just want to show just the GIF right away. So I don't want to. Okay. All right. So yeah, probably just show the gameplay GIF right away. I think that's just a picture's worth 1,000 words. And then I have a description here. Indirectly command thousands of units fighting across entire countries by drawing directly on the map. The cross between Steel Division 2 and Hearts of Iron 4. So I compare my game to other games. Though in this write-up, I didn't include the ask, and I think I probably, I obviously need to do work more on the slide. I think we're looking for X. Okay. Yeah, so something like that. Now, probably in future, I would probably cut down, again, that paragraph's a little bit long. You might even just want to just skip that and like put that down at the bottom because they don't care who you are. They want to see what the game is. So like you could put the gameplay description, gameplay GIF, description, link, demo, that sort of thing. So something like that. Like, you know, it can vary, but generally you want your GIF. And you don't write entire pages. This is enough. Because if they want to talk to you, they'll talk to you, and then there'll be more back and forth thing if they're interested. Like this, the idea of this is just to get a meeting. There'll be more details later. Okay. Okie dokie. So, does I already briefly mentioned, does cold calling publishers work? Yeah, I don't think it works super well. I just think it's not super effective. You basically need a track record to contact them of like if you've released games before, then maybe they'll pay attention. But if you've never released anything before, you need something pretty eye-catching. You need something to show that you're going to be successful. But then again, if you're going to be successful, maybe you don't need them. Like if you already have 50,000 wish lists, maybe you don't need the publisher. But then again, maybe you really do need that money. It really depends. Okay. But primarily, they're going to contact you. If they see what they like, if they see something they like, they'll find you. But again, that also means that you're acting from a position of strength in that they saw something they like and like your game is going to be successful or they think it will be. So then you have the bargaining power. Whereas if you come to them, you come from a position of weakness, if that makes sense. Okay. So publishers and scouting games. All right. So how do publishers find games to publish? I'm not going to make you write that out because we already did that. So publishers just get barraged by emails all the time. Maybe in a month, they might get 50 to 100 submissions a month or more. I don't know. It could be a lot. So developers are constantly sending them emails. They meet people at conventions is how they find people's games. They walk around and see the games, or they look at the list ahead of time. Maybe being at the convention adds to your pedigree of like, oh, they could afford attending, going to Los Angeles and doing a convention there. They also might have personal connections. Like publishers, I'm sure they all talk to each other. And if one might not fit with one publisher, they might refer it to another one. Like, hey, this game's looking really great, but it's not our wheelhouse. They might know someone. Then they also just look on the internet. They look at the store pages. They look at social media. They look inside forums. They have someone whose full-time job is looking at the internet. Okay. So something I've heard, something you may be thinking about, certainly looking at that, like, oh, video game publishers, they've done a lot for the industry. They made some really smash hits. Publishers need to choose which games they publish, right? Like they don't have infinite money and resources. They need to pick and choose. And maybe they also don't want to publish all the games they see. Of course they don't. So do we think that publishers, with their vast wealth of knowledge and many advantages we'll go over, do we think that they are good at picking games? Like the games they pick always sell well or do well, and they're winners. Do we think they're always going to pick winners? No. Okay, I see some people shaking their heads. Okay. Well, we're going to find out in a little bit of a roundabout way. Let's first see how good you guys are at picking winners. Okay? Let's say we're going to say that you guys let's see how good you guys are at picking games to publish. Let's say that you're a publisher. We're going to look at a bunch of games. And let's pretend that these are unreleased games. Now, the games we're actually going to be looking at will be released because then we know how well they did. But we're going to pretend they're not released, okay? And we won't be able to see that. We're going to look at a bunch of games. And we're going to look at like 20 games. And we're not going to look at their review numbers. And don't cheat. Don't look ahead of time. You're going to open a spreadsheet. And I'm going to list a bunch of games. We're going to go through a bunch of games. And you're going to guess how many reviews they got on Steam. Because, hey, we've been playing this guessing game the whole time. You're just going to do more of that. And at the very end, you're going to guess the number of reviews for each game. And at the very end, you're going to have to pick 2 of them to say, I'm going to publish these 2. And I'm going to stake my company's future on these 2 winners. And we're going to see if you stay in business or if you fail. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I'm going to open up this spread. So open up the spreadsheet that I just linked. Okay, so here it is. Okay, and we're not going to use these Steam games. Don't worry. Okay. All right. So you're each going to take a column. So yes, write your name in a column while I get up some random games. And we're going to... Oh, thank you. I wish it wouldn't play sound. This stupid spinning wheel. Okay. Oh, actually, and we're going to use Chrome for this. Sorry, one more minute. Stop the sound. No, I can't stop the sound. It's impossible. Oh, well, there's worse things. Okay. Okay, so up first, we have Gone Viral. All right, so we're not going to spend, so this is going to be lightning round. So we're not going to have a ton of time on this. And let me just get the other page over here. Okay, so up first, we have a game called Gone Viral. So here's the screenshots, and we're not even going to play the full video. You're gonna see a little bit. Oh.
Everybody say hello to Joe, the Skullcracker. She wields the pulverizer, a hammer weapon we prototyped early on in the beta, and it's back. In the hands of Joe, it is truly an instrument of unstoppable brutality. Joe's hammer attacks stun her enemies until she powers her feet. Each AoE game with more health than any other gladiator.
Okay.
And yes. So we have overhauled the companion AI, so
all right. So that is Gone Viral, folks. So you now must enter how many reviews you think this game got. I guess I would say that this came out in 2021 if that affects your opinion. So just write down how many reviews you think it got. And don't open the page yourself. Don't cheat. All right. Okay, up next we have a game called Jump Fist. All right, that's enough. All right, that's Jump Fest, folks. 2017 Jump Fest. All right. Okay, all right. Next up, we have Eleanor 3. Oh my. Okay, is this appropriate?
I don't think so.
Yeah, let's not.
Nope.
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna skip that one. Sure thing.
First 2 words in the description.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
We'll skip that one. All right, we're gonna do Crash Drive 3. Okay, apparently maybe they've third 3. All right, that is Crash Drive 3. All right. Okay, up next we have The Heart Defenders.
Better than Jump Fist.
Better than Jump Fist.
Jump Fist is pretty good.
Jump Fist is pretty good. All right, how about Cloney? Oops. Okay, yeah. Oh, look at Cloney. Okay.
By the way, we aren't allowed to know price, right?
I can show you price. You can know price.
Is this a free game?
Oh, if it's free, if it's free, I don't want it.
Jump Fist.
Oh no.
Free to play.
Okay. Well, okay. That one won't count.
I can tell by the aesthetics.
Yeah.
All right. Roll. Rise of a Legend. Okay, roll. Rise of a Legend. Okay. Bridge to Another World remaster. I'm just going to check the price. Indeed, it is. It has a price. Okay. All right. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, that's enough of that. That's too long. Okay, we're moving on. Tower of Dreams is next. Oh god, that's too long. Sorry, folks, that's too long. We're moving on. We're gonna do this one next. Oh, Era Abyss Frontier. Stars Era Abyss Frontier. Okay, up next we have Between Two Castles. Okay, right on, right on. All right. Up next we have Pink Hour. Pink Hour. Right on, right on. Okay, up next we have Quantum Pulse 2A. Okay, next up we have Delusional. Okay. All right, that's Delusional. Traveling Cats Around the World. Looks cute. All right. All right. Devil Devour Alive DX. Oh my god. Well, that's wacky. I'm sorry. This is too much. All right. Yep. Well, that was very interesting. All right. Up next, we have Ages of Conflict World War Simulator. Oh, there we go. Okay. Up next, we have Iterum. Let's start at the start.
You will hear many stories. Stories of the founding of the town to the east. The prosperous mineral excavation to the north. The plentiful harvest this year has brought. Stories about your greatness. But no matter how great, turmoil and disaster always loom. Droughts, rebellions, and invasions will challenge your rule. And through these difficult times, how will your empire survive? Through diplomacy and trade? Or through military power and control?
All right, enough of that. All right, up next we have Alarion, or Apis Bird Simulator.
Ever wonder how it feels to fly? Welcome to the first aerodynamically realistic bird simulator. Feel the immensity of the sky and learn how to fly like the world's fastest flapping bird. Survive by hunting and drinking while in flight.
Free to play game too.
Unlock
Oh, is it free?
skills.
Okay. Dang. Okay. Then we'll have to just do another one. Okay. Neon Echo. Don't want those free to play games. All right. That's Neon Echo. We have Franchise Hockey Manager 10. Wow, that's a lot of hockey managers. So that's crap. Hurry up.
Licensed by NHL. Welcome to the next generation of FHM.
Okay.
Play the game your way. Custom games now allow you to import real teams or entire teams from anywhere in the world or from historical games. And you can now set up promotion and relegation systems for your custom leagues. Gain more control with our reward trade system, including new TVs and player shopping systems.
All right. Enough of him. Okay. Next up we have John Cena. No, I don't know who that is. No, stop it. I want all these tabs. G.I. Joe, Wrath of Cobra. Cobra's back. All right, enough. We have Monster Mop-Up is our last one. Monster Mop-Up. Oh, they're so cute. Okay. Oh no, I did. All right. Okie dokie, it is time, folks. So you now have to. You're going to pick 2 of the games. You're going to highlight, I guess, highlight them green. 2 games that you must publish 2 games. Okay. You must highlight 2 games. And then we will go over. And hide column. No more looking at the median. Okay. Has everyone chosen? I see. What do we got? Okay, Mark needs 2 games. What about? Oh, you'll just have to pick 2. Okay. Well, then we're now going to actually look. We're going to, based on your median guess, I'm going to pop in your median guesses, and we're going to see how correct we were. It looks to me like, I guess the oh no, there we go. It looks to me like the first few set of games people didn't like very much, but we will see how that goes. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so Gone Viral. We said Gone Viral. The median guess was 62. So let's see how right we were. Very good. 65. Very good. Well done. Actually, I guess I'm going to designate here. Owen, could you actually write down the actual number of reviews as we go through it?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Okay. It is hard to use both screens. Okay. There we go. Okay. Jump Fist. What was the guest number of reviews? It was 3. Okay, then. Well, that does it. Well done. You guys are great. That's awesome.
Oh, it's one off.
Crash Drive. Okay. I guess actually I still need to be able to see it. Okay, so we've Crash Drive here. And we got the median number of views is 96, so I guess we are doing that. 453, so a bit off there. So if you were to publish that one, it's all right. It's all right, not bad. The Defender, Heart Defenders got a 9 from us. 3, okay. Life is Hard. Cloney, we said 10. You guys dunked on Cloney.
That was free though.
That was free.
Fine. That's all right. Okay. Roll, Rise of Legend. 36, we said. 46, very, very good. Excellent, excellent. You guys have gone good. Bridge to Another World. 70 is what we said. 2.
Whoa.
Oh,
For that one screenshot alone, it's worth.
this is detail.
2.
Yeah.
All right. Era Abyss. We've won 28. 24. This one here is. Wait, what's this one called? No, oh, that was Star Abyss. Okay. Do I have the wrong order? Oh, yeah, I had apparently put it further down. Okay, so yeah, 30, very good. We guessed 24, and it was 30, so very good. Between Two Castles, it looks like the order's slightly wrong. We said this one is 200, so not bad, not bad. 448. Pink Hour. We said 3. We really didn't like this one. Oh!
Is this free?
Oh, it's free. Sorry, guys.
Wow.
Stupid Steam picker. All right. Yeah. Let's. We can just delete. Did anyone publish? Oh, okay. It's fine. Okay. Quantum Pulse. So we said 150 for Quantum Pulse. 31. Delusional, we had 50. 9. Okay. Cats, we said 9. 819, and this one was paid. All right, so we're quite well off with this one.
People really liked it.
But it is also cheaper, so. Devil Devour DX, we said 17. Is that 20? Very. We're spot on. Ages of Conflict, we said 400. We thought this was a decent one. 8,700. And this, it's an early access, and this for sale. Wow. If you publish this one, this was a winner.
That's the only one I wanted to buy, but I wasn't going to publish it.
Oh, no. All right, well, we have Iterum. We said 50 for another strategy game. 3. Bird Simulator. Was this one free?
Yeah, this one was.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
We ignored it.
I won't make fun of you for this one then. Oh, I deleted it, so let's just figure out what it was. Okay, let's just say I would guess 0 to 9. 16, dang. Okay, Neon Echo. We said 750. That's quite high. 4,000. Not bad. Not bad. And it was paid. That's a winner, definitely. Even though the reviews aren't high quality, they people did like it. Okay, now Football Manager, Hockey Manager. 922, we said. And 207. So interesting. For being licensed by the NHL directly, it's not like a crazy seller.
Also, it's the 10th.
It's the 10th iteration.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's
But like that narrator was very amateur. It was strange.
It looks very low quality, but yeah, if it's 10th
Yeah.
time, they've got an audience.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe Cobra, we said 360. Okay, 174, pretty good still. Good guess. And then Monster Mop-Up, we said 300. 223. Okay. Okay, so let us take a look at how did you guys do?
Terribly. Badly.
I did.
All right, so yes, I guess So I guess I'm here. So Renee, whoever did Age of Conflict, if you publish those, you did well. That was a very good one. I guess let me just I guess kind of like my cutoff is that like if it was over 500 reviews, that's decent enough. That's just so I guess among this batch, and Crash Drive is pretty close. I guess you could throw in Crash Drive too. So to me, oh, and this Castle one, it's close enough. If these weren't free to play, so to me these were kind of like the winners. If you picked any of these, you might still be in business. And if you certainly didn't pick any of these 6 that I highlighted, you're out of business certainly. Oh. So yeah, how did everyone stay in business, or did anyone not make it?
Didn't make it.
I made it.
It looks like quite a few people chose the Neon Echo. So.
I choose for you.
Oh well, you could make it. Was this surprising? Were some of them surprises of like, oh man, that looked way better, and it only did
Few.
Yeah. That like story game with the point and click adventure, I thought that would do a lot better.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Interesting.
I thought the conflict one was going to be super low.
Yeah.
I find
I found myself thinking about like,
yeah,
this looks like it might
appeal,
but will it actually make money?
The Age of Conflict one, I figured it's
Oh, no.
probably going to be lower than the best performer, but it was solid enough that I thought that there was a high chance that it would just be like an average game at minimum, like a decent game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I would expect it to be.
Yes. So I guess the takeaway from this is that there are some games that you can immediately tell, like, oh, this one just doesn't have the magic. It's not going to do well. But then some do like way better than you think. Like the visuals, like really don't show like the Age of Conflict. I think we all guess like it could do all right, but then did like really well, like that's shockingly well. So you can't know, like you can't see the magic. Nobody knows how. Nobody can see the future, and nobody can tell how well it's going to do ahead of time. Now, of course, this was a very quick, like this was lightning round, but then again, there is someone whose full-time job is doing lightning rounds. Like they must receive hundreds of emails, if not more, 500, 1,000 a month. And someone's making those decisions of like, if they open your email, if they even open your email, someone looks through your email and makes a snap judgment within 30 seconds of saying, is this worth even looking at? Or do I just immediately click delete? So someone's already making lightning round judgments on the games that you pass. So it's like similar to what we're doing.
They're not watching a trailer that's more than a minute.
Yes, they're certainly not doing that. Also, though, the games that the publishers get, though, are less polished than we actually looked at released games. So we kind of actually, interestingly, how we did kind of poorly, despite the games being released. So the publishers actually have to look at the games before they're released. So maybe their job is even harder than, how well we did. So interesting. I think it's interesting. You can't always judge a book by its cover. I guess one... I should have snuck it in there. If I could have snuck in Vampire Survivors, you wouldn't look at Vampire Survivors and think that game sold 5 million copies or something ludicrous like that. Like looking at like the sprite art assets from that game are just like some asset pack that just basically stole from Castlevania, and like it looks like crap, and yet it sold like 10 million copies, something absurd like that. So you just can't know just looking at a game. It's very hard. It's very hard. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So, what do we think about this? So we just checked this assumption, do publishers only pick great games? Well, how good are you at picking games? Well, I think we just showed that, I don't think anyone's, someone got 2 for 2, so that means great. But there's this assumption that like if I sign with a publisher, my game will sell well. Now that, that list, we didn't know if they were published by other people. I didn't bother looking at that. It didn't matter. But do we think on the whole that if a publisher picks a game, it's going to do well? Like they only pick the winners. No. I the answer is probably definitely not. They don't always pick winners. And we're going to go through an exercise soon to show that. But also, assumption, publishers add value to games they publish. Therefore, if they do publish a game, that game should do better than it would without them. So theoretically, if a game publisher publishes a game, it will sell more. Do we think that's true? That just because a publisher picks a game, it's going to sell more?
Depends on the publisher.
Depends. Well, that exists.
Hope so.
You'd hope so. I mean, they have money to throw around, right? So generally, I mean, we can't know for sure, but like throwing money at something increases the chance of it being better than something with no budget. Probably. But not necessarily. So these are just things to think about. So if they pick a game, will it sell well? If they pick your game, will it sell well? And then, do they actually add value to what they're publishing? So if we add up all these assumptions, if I sign with a publisher, my game will sell well. Publishers should add value to games that they publish. And, publishers only pick great games. If all these assumptions are true, what would we see? What would we see? What games would they publish? Or like how well? Yeah. Right.
All top games should have a publisher behind.
All top games should have a publisher. Yes, that's right. So games the publisher will sell better and have better reviews and be better than other stuff. Right? Okay. So that is the assumption. This now we don't know if these are true or not. But certainly that is what a lot of people think. A lot of people hold up the publishers on big pedestals saying, oh, they're the best, they do everything. I want to get signed to the publisher. Well, let's see. Let's see if these assumptions all hold true. All right. And yeah, they will not publish poor selling games because they add value. So, they won't pick bad games, and the games they pick will do better because of them. And they only pick the good games. You don't have to write all this down because we don't know if these are all true. Okay. So publishers' advantage to scouting. So the publishers actually have many advantages over us from the previous exercise we literally just did. What advantages do they have over us? There might also be some disadvantages. We said that we look at them when they're already out.
They see the team.
Sure, yeah, so they have secret info. Like they saw the pitch, the team, track record. They could, yeah. So presumably they review these things before signing, right? Yep. Pitch, they know the team. What other advantages?
Pulse of the industry.
Sure, so they have industry knowledge. Presumably, it's their job to pick winners, and so maybe they're good at it if they're still in business. Maybe. Okay. Yep. So, they see games now. I guess actually that's not an advantage compared to what we just did. Yeah, that's not an advantage. They get to know the wish lists ahead of time. So like they actually look at the pages and, you know, you can use browser extensions to actually see the number of followers and extrapolate the number of wish lists. But also the developers would just tell them how many wish lists, how well they're doing, right? So they get to see some success-based metrics already. They know the past history of the team. They have years of knowledge. And, you know, they shouldn't pick duds. Well, I guess that's not an advantage. Yeah. Okay. So they should be better than us at picking. The point is that they should be better than us because they have some more information. Now, again, we did look at finished games when we did that game there. So we saw their finished visuals. All right. So we're now going to do another exercise where we're going to look at how well do publishers do. So we saw how well like we did at picking games. Let's take a look at how well publishers do at picking games. Do they do better than us? Let's find out. Okay. So using previously found games, let's score them. So let us take a look. So. Here it is. Oh, hello. Okay. Okay, so now let us pick let's pick a small publisher, then a medium-sized publisher, and then a big publisher. So let's look at a small publisher who has a Steam one that I can look at. Okay, what about Dangan? Sure. Do they have a Steam page? Oh yeah, okay. So Dangan Entertainment Steam. Okay. So let's see what they got. 31 games. Good. So let us just look. Oh yes, this is very nice. Yes. Okay. So if we go look at them, and now, guess how can we do this here? No, this way, yeah, sure. And then come on. Okay, so if we do this, so this is Dangan. Sure. Okay, so what we have here is that if we enter a game right here, we're going to enter a game and then just list the number of reviews that they have. So I guess I'm not going to bother linking it. But it looks like for RFL, I'm just going to 1853. So you can see here that if we put in a number here, we get a score. Now my scores are pretty arbitrary. It's basically just if they have less than 500 reviews, I give it a -1 of saying that's a dud. You know, they didn't want to do that. That's a failure. And then if they have above 1,000, I just give them a 2. No, above 1,000 to 1. Oh yes, 1,000 between 500 and 1,000 to 1, and then above 1,000 to 2. And that's my scoring metric. Okay. So let's just see how well this random one does. So I'm just going to purely based on the reviews that they pick. So then let's do it. Okay. So then we have Iconoclast, so 292. Oh no tier. I thought it says greater than 1,000. Oh wait, did this? Okay, well, you know what? I guess I'll just score it manually. That's okay. Don't have time for fiddling for that. Okay. Unfortunately, Sportmaker only had 50. Didn't like that one. Crosscode did phenomenally well. So powerful. The Witch's House got a 985. Minoria 1810. So far they're doing actually very well. Bug Fables did very, very well. Vesteria did 961. Batbarian did 201. Smelter got 164. Lost Rune 1094. Oh no tier. Astalon 974. Bomb Nation 118. Evertry did 38. Rise 484. Ultra Age at 259. Vesteria Saga 2 again. Loretta 365. Hunt the Night. Dungeon Drafters 557. Bat Boy. Recall 39. Umami 40. Deck of Haunts is 68. Okay, that one's not out. And then Bittersweet Birthdays 26. Kingdom of the Night is 3 and 3. Lovish. Oh no, I need more. 34. 22. Okay.
I think you missed one.
Did I? Well,
Just creatures in the bottom.
well, that's all right. I missed it. That's fine. Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll just put 2 for these missing tiers. Okay. So what do we see here? I know I didn't put their names. They certainly started out very strong, and certainly this is no doubt like how they got their start as the company. Like Crosscode sold them $1 bazillion. Does anything surprise you here?
The amount of misses.
Now, keep in mind, my 500 review is arbitrary. Like, I mean, certainly a game with 300 or 400 reviews could be okay, but certainly like not what they're dreaming of. It's not what they're hoping for. So my metric is somewhat arbitrary. Okay, but if we actually look, strangely enough, it is like the median is a -1. So like by my metric, they miss more than half their shots. Is that surprising? Yeah. But again, though, if I lowered my threshold of like maybe make the median like my threshold 400, that would change the score somewhat. But it's not by a ton. So yeah, so that's just one publisher. You know, don't take away that all publishers are bad at picking, but this was just a random one, and certainly, you know, the beginning games sold quite well, and then maybe as Steam went on, just more and more games come out, and it's just harder to get, you know, top selling ones. I can see here they kind of have had a run that isn't super great. Okay, so let's look at another one. Okay, so that was Dangan. So I guess Dangan got -1. Okay. All right. So let us look at a different one. Okay, so who's up next? What should we look at next? I generally prefer doing, I guess, yeah, so that was a small or medium one. You could either say it's small or you could say it's medium. With crosscode, it probably could be a medium one. Is there anyone with smaller, like less than 32 games that you want to see?
Brand has like 4. That'll make things a bit easier.
Which one?
Off-brand is my small one.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Off-brand, sure. Okay, so we will find off-brand Steam. We'll see what comes up. Steam publisher. Thank you, AI. Okay, and this is the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. All right, so up first we have Rivals of Aether 2. I actually know that one. Sure. Okay, so that did very well. Very good. Good for them. Good for them. Oh no, my tears. Okay, Rivals of Aether 2. They did very well. Aethermancer is done quite well. That's very good. Good for them. Bonnie Bear. Okay, 134. And then that's just a demo. Okay, so yeah, so here they've done 3. Now, this one was released pretty recent. Well, no, they've had their time. So, you know, 2 good hits and then 1 dud. That's what they've gotten. So good work for them. Oh, my median of Dangan might have been a little bit off. It actually was including those zeros there. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's a smaller one, so it is harder to draw. You know, they did well, but they certainly don't have a big pool to look at, so it's certainly hit and miss. Is there some others we'd like to look at? So I guess they did well, whatever they're called, off-brand. We'll say they did a 2.
Do you want to look at Playway's 257 games?
Oh, Playway's a great one. Let's take a look at that. So yeah, Dangan was -1 with 32, I believe they listed. So let's look at Playway. Yeah. Playway Steam. Okay, let's look. Oh no, they're not. No. They don't use the new page layout. I actually have to like mouse over to see their reviews. Oh.
He wasn't kidding.
Oh! No!
257.
Get started.
Oh, I might need some help here.
19.7 games per year.
Yeah, 1610. All right, so I'm certainly not going to be able to go over all of these. We're just going to have to like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah. 3959. I'm going to need help. I can't do this alone.
If you hover over and you don't click, then it's already typed in there. You can just hit enter and type the next one.
Okay. Oh, there we go. You're right.
I know you can use Game Analytics to just see a list of all the games they published with the reviews.
Oh, yes. Good. That might be better. All right, so let's take a look. Sure, yeah. Game Analytic Playway essay. Playway. Let's see what they say. Yeah, this might be better. 0, huh?
Is
that might not be the right person. Okay. Search publishers. Playway. Which Playway? I guess we'll go with the big one. There we go. Yep, 267. Well, median revenue 29,000. So we're not quite looking at their reviews, but that's interesting. Actually, that's a very interesting number right there. So that's certainly far above the median. Like the median game on Steam is 2,000 or 3,000, but for them they're earning 30,000 per game. Now they've got some hits, but a lot of duds. But is that surprising? But that's the median. That's the middle of the pack for them.
Yeah, that's actually probably like a massive loss for them because there's no way that they only put in 30,000 on half their games.
That's a good question. So I can tell you, I've experienced with these guys. They are from Poland, so Eastern Europe. Their cost of living is far lower than here, so they actually do pay their developers far less, like less than half of what we pay. So it is hard to compete against them just churning out simulator. I guess I call it simulator slop. Yeah, that's very interesting. In fact, yeah, actually, I really like this. Good call, Braden. Thank you for bringing this up. We can also look up, so I guess Playway, like I said, what, 32K revenue? Or is it 29? I don't know. It's something like that. Okay, so that's very good. We can actually look up Dangan and see what they say here.
Playway's made $300 million.
Yes.
Oh. So Dangan's actually median is 121K
Oh, that's actually good.
in total revenue. So that's interesting. Their total revenue is far less. So 26 million median, 26 mil total. And then Playway was
Wrong Playway.
wrong Playway.
Other one.
Yep. Playway was this. So 303 million. In like some stupid amount of games, 267.
Between the time the spreadsheet came out and
They might have made another game.
Just 10 more games.
Yeah.
Oh.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. Is there any other ones you want to look at? I guess we can look at a bigger one. Does someone want to look at a bigger one? Which one?
Square Enix.
Okay, yeah, that's very big. We'll look at it. All right. I guess I'll try the Steam approach. We'll see how many games they have.
Oh, it's gonna be a lot.
Maybe they aren't Playway. They'll have less games than Playway.
I bet you they port a lot of their old stuff though.
Maybe. Oh no, they didn't use the new page either.
It's probably not.
No. I beg you. It wasn't as bad. All right, so yeah, Dungeon Siege 2. I'm not going to bother writing these down if we have Gamealytic. Conflict Denied Ops, Yogaman. Yard of War.
That one, that fruit farm.
This really stands out as strange. Interesting. Oh man, Front Mission Evolved did very poorly on PC for that game. Okay. Yeah, so there's too many to look at. But I'm just notice that they do publish duds, and some of them are really weird of some of them are very surprising. I guess no. Yeah, I guess 2009. Is this like a port of an old game or something? I don't know this history, so.
Looks like a Flash game.
Yeah, so some of them are definitely. Oh, Daikatana. Ouch. Yeah, some of these are old games, so you can't judge ports of old games. Those aren't really fair. So yeah, they got some old ports, but then some new ones. And sometimes it's just very strange of seeing a game, a publisher chose a game, you're like, huh, I would never okay, so is this shocking? To me, this is shocking. Square Enix, one of the big game publishers, 16 reviews.
Yeah.
16.
And
One of your games will do better than this, published by Square Enix.
And it looks modern too. Like,
Yeah,
the art style.
I don't know what the deal with that is. Like, what were they thinking, or I don't know.
Mostly positive.
Mostly positive.
It's an appropriate name.
So I mean, obviously, I'm cherry picking, but there's some baffling decisions here, of like, what's up with that, you know? Okay. All right. So yeah, we don't have time to look at all of them. Oh yeah, Chrono Trigger, nice. Okay. So yeah, let's look at Square Enix. Oh no. Oh no. Square Enix. 1 billion. Okay.
Pretty sweet.
Okay, so Square Enix. 1 bill total. Median 1.7 million. Okay, so I mean, obviously, the games they produce are pretty high, but then you saw like there was one that was like 16 reviews. So that's just strange. Like there's just strangeness going on. Okay. So yeah, I find it very interesting that you'd think that they always pick winners, and yet some of them are just like baffling, and like, you know, they don't always do a great job of picking them, strangely enough. But also not to throw shade on trying new things. Experimenting is cool. That's good and all. Okay. So, so what do we think about publisher success? Was that a bit surprising? Maybe. I don't know. It's varied, obviously. But I wouldn't say that just because a publisher publishes your game is a magic bullet. Like we saw that 16 reviews, Square Enix. They cannot snap their fingers and make like, you know, a pile of turds into a golden throne. Like they don't have that power. They cannot do that. So on the whole, I kind of view them as like a bit negatively. So if a publisher signs my game, is my game guaranteed to succeed? Certainly not. We saw that's not true. Nope. Okay. That's definitely not true. Are publishers actually good at picking successes?
Better than random.
Better than us, maybe? A bit. I don't know. Some of those picks are pretty baffling. Like I think with some research, again, the 16 review games, like what were you thinking? Who made that decision? I don't know. I personally don't think they're all that great at picking successes, especially considering they know the wish list ahead of time. They've seen the team. They know their record and stuff. So I personally don't think they're all that good at it. I think maybe they're a bit better than us, but I don't think they're better than us by that much. Okay? Do publishers add value to the games they publish? You'll hear more about this later. They publish. I don't think they really do. I think the games they publish would have done well with or without them. And certainly, you'll hear some stories again at the end where, you know, the developers are better than the publishers at doing some of the tasks the publishers are supposed to be doing. Like marketing from the game. My team personally made better trailers and better marketing art than the publisher did for some of my games. Okay. So kind of like the shotgun, publishers do the shotgun approach of like, they just publish a bunch of games and they hope they get like a few really high selling ones, and that'll fund all the failures that they get. Because indeed, they are going to get failures. Like we saw Dangan had its fair share of failures, but they're still in business because they got like Crosscode sold a bajillion copies for them, and that's great. So they just kind of shoot their shots and hope they get like hit the bullseye. That's what they're hoping for. Because it's very hard to pick the games. You can't tell if a game has the magic or not. Okay. But yes, these are all debatable. Like, you know, you could argue with me, but I have personal experience working with publishers. And we'll hear more at the end about that. But I certainly don't think publishers are magical. I don't think they know a lot better than you or I, and there's things that I do better than them. So I don't think they're magic by any means. Okay. Yeah, so they're not particularly good at picking successes, I don't think. they don't know which games are the magic, and neither do I. We don't know either. And, they can't see the future. So they're not, like, the best at anything. I think they're fallible. They can be killed. All right. So, yeah, any questions about this stuff? Again, we did some cherry picking. There's some subjective stuff. But yeah, I don't think publishers are always what they're cracked up to be. Okay, so next time we're actually going to look at publisher deals, and we're going to look at some contracts, but that is going to have to wait for next time. So we'll have to do a publishers part 2. And in the meantime, I guess for homework, you're going to be making those pitch presentations. So here's the homework. Here we go. So here's your homework. So for next time, you're going to book another meeting with me and, perform another 2 playtests of strangers. I'm going to keep doing it. You got do it again. Do it again, okay? Next one will be Tuesday, September 1st. And you're going to make a pitch deck, and you have to include all of those things. So you're going to make a pitch deck, and you're going to present in front of the class what we did today, like we did today. So that'll be it for today. Thanks for attending. So you can stick around if you have any more questions.